Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to another episode of Probing the Many. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at, well, actually not that different at all. NYXL versus Seoul is the name of the game. This was a really interesting match because usually on Probing the Many we can sort of break stuff down to like, oh, one team's using ultimates better, one team's got a better team comp, or is using like an interesting strat, stuff like that. A lot of this game, from what I could see, just came down to people making good, strong, solid plays. And that's sort of an interesting thing to happen. Now, the part of that is just like this team is, like both of these teams, there we go, there goes the, oh, no, I don't want it to go big, YouTube, no, Windows. I want it to go away. There's the lovely analyst desk, there's the lovely Semler. Actually, I really appreciate Semler's casting now. Like, it's a different style, but it's very, very fun to listen to. But yeah, like both of these teams have players that can just go off and carry, like of their own right. The only one thing I'll say in terms of like skill levels and like skill levels determining thing is we're going to see like a number of these Pharah battles coming up where Seoul just can't really match Libero. Libero definitely sort of starts taking over the skies more and more as this game goes on. The other big difference, I'd say, is that Meko and Zunba, like, they're both the off-tank players. Very, very different in how they where they focus on playing. Thank you, Limo Senpai, as well, for the 10 months. 10 months! That's 10 ohm hypes. Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. But yeah, Zunba, more of a diva player, Meko, more of a roadhog. And that's going to determine one or two things as the game goes on. Meanwhile, Munchkin Sabiobi, relatively even in terms of just going face-to-face. Jajonak is also like the other wild card in this game, which is that Jajonak is a killer. He's like the soul of a DPS transplanted into a support's body, and that's kind of scary. He just focuses on dealing DPS more than healing, and it's frightening. And you notice that Sabiobi not on the Tracer for this one, he's on the McCree. And that is just because they want to be able to deal with the Pharah. They actually have a lot of resources in the air available to deal with this Pharah. There's some good spam, some good safe spam as well. Like, it's very, very hard to sort of get focused in here. And the moment that McCree pops out, you know that Seoul are just going to dive in. But they just do make their way in. Ryujie Hong gets a good kill on Sabiobi. And this opens the point up massively for Fleda, who then gets focused down by Libero. And this is sort of like one of the things that you'll notice throughout this is that Libero will just continually do stuff like this. This was nice sort of opportunism by Zunba just to spot this out. And actually surviving that was actually pretty big of a deal. Like, NYXL's tanks are good enough to know that they can just... Like, they know just what to do when their support gets dived and how to handle that and how to do a lot of damage to that. And the Roadhog Orisa combo, which isn't something that Seoul seems to be too comfortable running, seems to be very, very powerful at the moment, would be very, very good in a situation like that. Zumba, been spotted out. He does manage to rocket himself away. Does get away. Big reason why NYXL held that one off, it's Libero being such a frightening motherfucker, killing off the main source of DPS, and then you just got to deal with Meko and Mano, who are very, very hard to remove on the point. Like, they are very, very, very solid on the ground. And Meko especially, I think, just deserves a lot of kudos for the way this series ends up going for them. Munchkin looking for supports at the moment, just hovering around the backside, gets to Jajonak in his sights. Can't feel safe when doing that, but does end up just retreating back to the point because ults get used. Jajonak uses his as well. Starting to see these support ults get cycled. Some Mercy ults are available. Fleda barrages himself into a barrier by the looks of things. What happened to you, Fleda? No, he didn't barrage himself into a barrier. He just... Watching Fleda's hit points? What happened to you, Fleda? Oh, I think Meko hooked him. If I had to make a guess, I think Meko did hook him. Quality, is this playing at source? Yeah, it is. So it's the old, like, if you hook Pharah and Pharah fires a rocket, you'll often just kill herself. Both teams don't commit the Mercy ults, though. Which I'd say plays into NYXL's favor. Like, Zumba... Devo is a weird one with Mercy Res. Ryujie... Oh, no, this is not good. Ryujie Hong cannot be here. You can't have your Zen Stark like this. So, the big issue with this, it isn't even the fact that he's going to get stalled and staggered and stuff, it's that all this time, Ryujie Hong can't actually contribute. So, if you compare this, 29% versus 44, you'll oftentimes find that the 29 is lower than the 44. Yeah, this is going to set him back in just the ult charge race, and Jajonak is going to find targets to shoot at. And if Seoul just wait and try and reunite with him, then they're going to have a hard time. But all this time, Jajonak is just going to be pulling ahead and pulling ahead and pulling ahead and pulling ahead. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's now 30% higher. And it's still climbing. Ru Jiehong does manage to find a kill though, does start to redeem himself and come back and make a big difference. And maybe they overfocused on him. Maybe they did overfocus on him. So how the hell did NYXL lose this fight? Fleta gets an early kill on Libero. That's pretty goddamn huge. And then just the dive is good. Once you lose that Farah, it's going to have a tough time. Arc does pick him back up though. Arc picks up Mecha again. Fleta goes for the barrage, doesn't get anything. Jijona gets killed before he can trance, but he's already 50% ahead at the moment. Meko comes back out, guns blazing. Mercy Res is a good ability, by the way, guys. But they just can't stick on it. So the scary thing for Seoul at the moment is that they know that they're behind on these ults. Fleta swaps up to the Widow. Very, very powerful attack on this point. Ball and chain combo. This is that power of the Roadhog Orisa. It will just give you picks like this every so often, and it's a really nice, strong way of playing Overwatch. When you're waiting for this 5 versus 5, you're waiting for like the full component of 5 all the time, full component of 6. So getting reduced down to 5 every so often just because of a combo works out is huge. Hey, Labada! Thank you for the tier 3. I've also run out of clever things to say, so I know how it feels. No fucking brand. Looking for an angle.
Clever things to say.
Can't find it. Like this is an interesting hold position as well. Like I remember watching this and thinking like this is really kind of bizarre, but it does favor how this team comp wants to play. Like Farah is very, very good at controlling spaces like this one, and especially if the enemy team has no other Farah. Like Fleta's going to have to be constantly like leaping up to try and get an angle on this Farah. Otherwise, they're just going to have to try and walk through here to get some sort of vision, and that just doesn't work well. So this is actually like a really, really nice aggressive hold, and you're trying to play for like 2 fights regardless. So even if you get wiped here, like them pushing through all the way this way, you're still going to have time to sort of come back and try and reinforce. And it just means that you are making use of this choke point more than anything. Which is where the Roadhog Orisa is going to be very, very strong. Jijonek's going to find easy kills, and as long as Seoul don't run like a Winston or anything, and play like super aggro, jumping over the top, then you're never really going to be surprised either. You can even see like Munchkin's waiting on the side. And sort of looking for these side pass, looking for some kind of angle. Dive goes in at the moment, but Zumba like already getting choked. Now the nice thing about the dive, and like one thing you could try and do, and this might be what Seoul's game plan is because they have this, like they have 3 people going in the dive now. So basically Tracer went through the sort of the shop and went around this way. I think Winston did the same, and then D.Va just gets in anyway. So 3 people like dive in all at once. This gives space for the Widow to come out and actually get an angle and get some sort of vision on people. And when Widow is uncontested, then she has like, this is easy shots for Fleta. And now they have no one to really contest this Widowmaker. So it's going to be very, very difficult for them at this point. Once this Widowmaker gets on these stairs and is sort of everyone else is in their face, it's going to be super difficult. The fact that he makes that shot look close and easy is amazing. But this is where it gets dangerous, because this, like the reason why you run the Widow on this point of the map is for this precise point. You get Fleta, or you get someone in this position, and you can really cover this doorway very, very well. They have to wait for a D.Va or a Winston or something that can just block the sort of the shots coming in to be able to displace that Widowmaker.
Welcome to Overwatch, mon chéri.
And sort of stop them firing the shots. Thank you, Skels, as well. Welcome. Well, not welcome. Thank you for the seven goddamn months. It's very appreciated. That's 7 hypes in total. Oh. I am very curious as to why like Fleta dropped down here. I think he's just like, he knows that the D.Va's coming, and he knows that, I guess, so basically the enemy team comes out the doorway here, they all just push up this way. And I'm guessing Fleta just drops down here just to avoid getting like focused too hard. Notice Libero's swapped. I'm going to say like Libero because it just sounds cool. It makes him sound like some sort of Mexican or Latino lover. Libero. Oh, Libero. He swooped me off my feet. Anyway, right. But yeah, it's interesting to me to see Fleta just like change up so much in like terms of positioning, and then just like, spend so long in positions where he can't find anything, and then just ends up in sort of the same place where he started, where he knew the enemy team was. Does get himself in a position where he can maybe assassinate the supports, but I don't know. I feel like there might have been better positions available for him. Valkyries get used, so people are going to get rezzed anyway. SaberLB having a good old duel on the point. SaberLB known for hunting down enemy traces. So yeah. You pronounce it libero, it actually means free. As in, I'm guessing Latin root of liberty and stuff like that. Seoul give up on that fight. What happened to Jonak? Just uses trance and they just give up the fight. Get sniped out by Fledder on the exit, fade away kill, but they've already just given up on the fight. So this is a difficult position for Seoul. Ryujong has 6 final blows so far on attack, 4 more than Jijonak. Wow, okay, that's impressive. Like, both of these Zenyadas are sick, so it's crazy. So this is just like a dive collapsing on people. Moving through this choke point here is extremely difficult, and like with bringing a Widowmaker through here as well just seems a bit strange to me. Now they sort of spot out the Mercy and catch the Mercy. She's sort of trying to reunite with the team, but most of the enemy team, like, it's very, very hard to see. This is why the dark blue doesn't work. You can barely make out like a Winston up here. I think Winston and D.Va just come in from behind and just catch everyone going through. And like when Winston's in this situation, just doing so much friggin' damage, it just gets so difficult for them. What the fuck? Where did that even come from? Just puts it on the floor for him, I think. This is why, yeah, okay, so Fledder split off. This makes me happier about going through this angle. Like the fact that Fledder's even just following them this far, I'm guessing Fledder split off to the left and then grappled up. Because you don't want the Widow in there, do you? Moobot, alright. Turn Moobot off, don't worry. Have you seen the match already? Yes, I have. Zumba just being effective, and Kuki also just being a very aggressive, effective tank. Bear with me, I'm trying to turn off this command while also commenting on a game. SaberLB doing SaberLB things, though. Still curious as to like how they got into this good position. Okay, that's how. Very, very early kill onto the Mercy. Puts Toby down. Ryujay Hong's down, so they have no supports. Flood is so low. Does manage to survive a little bit longer, but he can't keep fighting, so no one else can keep fighting. No, not commands. Scrim bracket needs to be turned off. There we go. There we go. That's all sorted. SaberLB so good. SaberLB, if like I could take a Overwatch League player and like steal all their skills, SaberLB would probably be the guy I'd steal them from. He is insane. So this is nice from NYXL. They're playing a dive comp. I like the fact that they're not just sort of waiting. They might have a couple too many people sort of peeking up over here. Like, surely you only need one person looking over here. The rest of the team can reposition pretty quickly. Notice that the tanks are in a really strong position, so no matter what way they need to go, they can just redeploy super fast to go that way. Yeah, this is like a high mobility team. Spot out most of the enemy team goes through here. Very nice camera angle of the play going in. Mano goes in one way, Libero goes in the other. Meko goes in the other as well. And just creates like a sandwich. Both sides. Easy to isolate targets, easy to kill targets. No problem. And so they just split out Ryujay Hong and just crush him. And like, even if they lose 1 or 2 people. Now they have to be careful. Jijonak spots it out, and hey, Mano's come back. It's too soon, guys, to do this again. Soon must be so happy that he's sort of become the name of the back cap. Of doing a soon is now just the back capping. It's beautiful. Valiant also tweeted today of like soon looking very handsomely into the camera. With a comment like, "Oh, I'm swooning," as in small O, big O, is how he writes it. And it was just the comments were just nothing but thirsty women. He is a handsome, handsome Frenchman. Sod the French and their attractiveness. No, wait, jumping forward. There we go. So, time for Seoul's defense. And like this, that was well held by NYXL. So BLB charges pulse bombs an average of 53 seconds each. 14 seconds and 14 fucking seconds. That's almost a quarter faster. That's actually a bit more than a quarter. Well, considerably more than a quarter. About 28%, 29% faster. That's huge. Is he more attractive for being French or less? Less. That's an interesting tank comp. That's an interesting ass tank comp. It's interesting to see Meko on the, or Miko, I'm gonna say Meko. Meko on the Diva, not the Roadhog. I'm guessing this is just how they feel these resources are best spent. With double off tank. This is going to pay off immensely. Just looking at team comps, like, I kind of know how this game goes, but like if you think about just how these team comps are going to line up, normally, like, if you run this into like an Orisa barrier, you're going to have a pretty tough time. Like, you got to try and get these people into position, try and find things to hook. Otherwise, they can just like basically Ryuje, Hong, and Fleder will just stand behind a barrier all day and shoot you all day, and you'll end up losing. But because they're only like the tanks are Winston Diva, Hog Diva can just go nuts, basically. Kuki managing to get one, but especially once that McCree goes down, like they just pick out Fleder and just go, yep, we're just killing the McCree. Because once the McCree dies, clear skies. And McCree's very diveable as well. So shitload of damage onto Kuki. Kuki does a good amount of damage himself right back. Just relentless aggression. Sabielby finds Fleder. They just keep layering on the damage and bunching the enemy team up as well, which is going to just set everyone up for Libero. And like that was as ideal as possible. It's like Seoul just backing up and backing up and backing up and pushing back to the walls. It's just going to make it so easy for Libero to do a huge amount of damage. The new Ohm High is good. Yeah, the new Ohm High is great. YouTube, if you haven't seen the emotes, look at how cute this Anna is. Don't you want that too? I'm sure you want that too for your Twitch chat experiences. Come subscribe to OneAmongstMany. Ding. Right. Notice that Seoul are holding very differently, also running the Widow. So I'm going to try using the defensive Widow. Libero instantly swaps off to the Genji. I'm actually curious to see exactly when he swapped.
Welcome to Overwatch, mon chéri.
Hey, Kishfalka. See? See? It works. Good use of that tasty Twitch Prime as well. So they take first. Fleder's already swapped. And then I imagine it could just be part of the natural plan to just transition first to second. Yeah, Libero's just waiting by the door. So they probably always intended to swap to the Genji. Just not favouring Pharah there. Again, because I talked about this with the coach of the menu with the Pharah. But it's just good to sort of highlight it again. The issue when you're playing Pharah, when there's already like a high ground difference. So actually, let's draw over here. So you got like this terrain here, right? This sort of block here. So the high ground already is kind of here. So if you think about how Pharah flies, you would only get to about here in terms of height. So anything that can actually shoot you or hit scan you, you're always going to be about sort of the same distance away. And so you don't actually get a height advantage. You're just sort of more equalizing the high grounds. Well, with Genji, you can just sort of roam around the space freely. And seeing that Fleder's on the Widow as well, it's just like, yeah, this, like, Pharah's just got nowhere to be that's safe. So swapping off seems fine. Seoul just diving in, trying to put pressure on. I think they're going to have a considerably harder time of it. No surprise to see Mana swap onto the Winston as well. Again, New York Excelsior playing very, very high mobility on this point. This is a cute path. Oh, I remember watching this, because he almost like this is where it's like Genji bugs. Look at this. Look at, I'm sure he cacked his pants, bless him, because I would have as well. He jumps and just sort of nuzzles the wall and just goes, oh shit! What the hell happened there? And then manages to get back to safety. They managed to just make it through the choke. No one's been sniped off by Fleder as well. This is just like good safe play from NYXL. Zumba does manage to isolate a target though, because he's Zumba. Jejonak versus Munchkin. Jejonak is a beast. Is probably the best Zenyatta in the league. It's crazy how many kills this guy gets. Beautifully done. Just clean for him. And like this must be so frustrating because this is Boombox on steroids, this man. Like Boombox is good, Jejonak is better. And that's frightening. Toby uses his reses, Ark's already used his. Interesting choice by Sabiaba to engage there, but he does just run away, nice and safe. Oh my god, can you actually get the bomb up there? Oh my god, Fleder, no. Okay, he did that with grapple. Like, when I saw this, I was expecting him to just stay here and just try and, like, stay hidden. Because if he can stay in this position, like, this is fine for Tracer. Tracer can get away with stuff like this. And the fact that, like, Mercy is healing Fleder is, like, the only reason that Fleder survives this. He just starts cleaning up. Drops down, has grapple, is safe. Sabiaba gets out. Boombox is overrated, TBH? I don't think so. I think Boombox is rated just about right. He's probably the best Western Zenyatta. Sabiaba just being annoying on the point. This is standard, like, this is just good Tracer play, just making use of the mobility, where it's just like, he doesn't need to do anything fancy at this moment, he's just going to go stand on the point, prod it, scout out, see where people are as well. Meko just looking around as well, scouting, just setting up the dive. They want to find some kind of angle. The big thing is if Libero gets his Dragon Blade, yeah, he just draws it out instantaneously because they like this is just good ult reading by NYXL. They know that Ryuji, Hong, and Toby have used both their ultimates. If they just stall out and let Libero get his ultimate, then they can just win this very, very quickly if he can get one or two good picks with it. The Dragon Blade comes out, DMX Zumba. That's probably enough, to be honest. Probably wanted one or two more, but hey. And now NYXL could just cycle ults and push it through. Like, I want to go back to... So this game was kind of, like... It was lost in the previous... in the previous fight. Zumba's gonna try. Drops the Diva Bomb, but gets fishballed. Munchkin stalls. Fleder gets a good kill. And this is where my really shit short-term memory might actually do me a favor here, as they might actually be able to do something here. Even if they do, Ark's ulted, reses 2. Jejonak hasn't managed to build up an ult yet. If Toby ults... Oh, but there's the blade. Oh! The tree! Tree! And... done? There we go. Oh, God. Okay, I was about to say, Jesus. So, that was just good discipline by NYXL. But yeah, I want to go back to the fight before the one at the end. It's the use of both of these ultimates where NYXL sort of go through it without using them that really does separate the last fight. So it's not this one. Jejonak's the beast, yada yada yada. Here. So, Toby ults. Okay, they're a little bit panicked. Toby reses 2. And then Ryuji Hong ults. And it's the Ryuji Hong ult that just seems a little bit too early. Oh, he's getting focused. Yeah, this is just really good play by NYXL. Like, they don't need... Once... The victory condition here is very, very simple. It's just to get both of these ultimates out while they don't use all of theirs. So yeah, Ryuji Hong gets focused down, ults to stay alive. Stalls for a moment or two, but crucially NYXL come through and they've, like, this is desynced. So there's no sync with the, like normally Dragon Blade and support ultimates are generally synced. When people say that they're synced, they mean that the ultimate, like by the time Dragon Blade is charged, the support ultimate should be charged as well. So you can sort of just cycle through and just keep countering them. When you desync them, that's when you have like opportunities to make plays using ultimates and then just open up the map. That is how NYXL take first map. A little bit messy at the end. Zimba does a good job stalling, but hey. Just want to jump towards this final fight, just to see if I missed anything. Let's go through it one more time. He's just constantly dealing damage into all of this. And then Ark gets his Valkyrie, picks everyone back up. All that hard work instantaneously undone. Isn't Mercy fun? Toby drops to 1, Libero gets his Dragon Blade, takes him out the sky, and then just goes cleans up. Dashes into a tree, and now it's just a couple of tanks left. Surrounded by Zenyatta and hungry DPS. They can't leave the point either, so they just get focused down. Because no one wants to C9 this. And there we go. And this was when everyone was like, The thing is, going into this, there were a lot of questions of like, hey, like, you know, which is the top dog in the Korean teams? NYXL, Seoul Dynasty, or London Spitfire? And NYXL people have sort of been going, yeah, these guys are actually really good. So it's kind of interesting to see, like, this series was a good sort of litmus test for how do they perform. They were very close fought games. So it's sort of like the field isn't open by any means, and like we have one data point now of like a close series that NYXL won. Is that enough to say NYXL are the better team? Perhaps not, but I would say NYXL are looking strong at the moment. I would say that BLB, as people have commented in chat already, is better than Munchkin. Jejonek is a little bit strong on the Ryu Jae-hong, and I'll be curious to see what support meta shifts. Ryu Jae-hong is also a little bit more flexible. And Meko, like, Zumba is really good, but Meko really impressed me during this entire series. Anyway, standard sort of Widowmaker bunker with Junkrat dashed in, with J-Krat dashed in. NYXL lose the Fusion and beat Dynasty. Yeah, Fusion are in a, like, it wouldn't surprise me to see Fusion turn into like giant killers. And then go on to lose to, like, or get pushed by Shanghai Dragons and shit. So, Seoul Dynasty, like, we've seen a couple of different comps come out for this map. This is one of them. Seoul, pretty much one of the few teams that try and run this. Valiant also like running this as well. Where you have the Sombra mixed in, although Seoul run it with the support Sombra instead of the DPS. They like still having the Widowmaker and Tracer, so they'll run it with a Sombra. You could see the Sombra in the bottom, well, just beneath the picture. So Sombra is going to move on the point, Tracer's going to move on the point also, and the issue with this team comp is it doesn't have like easy peel. Sometimes you would have a D.Va, for example, so you'd see like the D.Va come down. The issue with the D.Va is that basically the point of having the Sombra and the Tracer is that the Tracer and Sombra just pull in like two separate directions. If Sombra can hack the D.Va is dead because there's just no defense matrix. There's enough damage going from both sides so that she can't get out, she can't rocket boost away, and then she's going to get demeched and killed. So you're going to have to peel back more people, which is where sort of Flighter can start capitalizing as people have to move back. So you see the points ticking up. NYXL have to make a decision, have to send people back, so they're all just going to start dropping back. One or two people do. It just feels like Munchkin isn't quite there. Like, my question here is, like, where is Munchkin? So they send back the Junkrat to start putting pressure on him. Hat comes through, which is going to slow him down, but he just lands the direct hit anyway, so hey. Do you think that Kuki is going to be Seoul's main tank going forward? I wouldn't say default. Kuki seems to be, like, their aggression tank. But yeah, that was just nicely done by Libero. But it makes me wonder, like, where the fuck is Munchkin during all of this? So let's play Find the Munchkin. Like, he's over here. Because all that's happening on, usually with this strat, you generally see, like, so one person peels off because they go, oh, there's a Tracer on the point, and then, oh, suddenly, been here all along, ah! And it's like, oh, no, it's a Sombra and a Tracer, I can't deal with both of them. When it's just one of them, like, this is manageable. And then finally Munchkin arrives, but it's a bit too late. Fleder then comes in from the side, kills him off, but Meko's already killed all the tanks on the top, because he's a scary, scary man. He's very impressive. Munchkin had 10 hit points. Yeah, why did Munchkin take damage? Like, what the fuck did happen to him? Like, why is he going in through with the main tanks? That's... So basically, like, the fact that Munchkin's going through here is what's confusing me. And he gets chunked by something. Because this being slow is what makes Ryu Jae-hong so vulnerable, because Sombra on her own isn't that threatening. Like, to me, the idea of this comp is that you have the Sombra and Tracer engage the same target at the same time. Because that 2v1 is really, 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 really brutal. So Jae-hong goes through, hacks the health pack. You can see Mano's already scanning for it. You see that NYXL have changed the positioning. They know that now they're playing against the Sombra comp, so they're going to play this low ground, try and blow people up, but they're going to have a really hard time doing it. Seoul are going to just build up an EMP. This is the agonizing moment where, like, you can see through this, but you can't shoot through it, so you just see the tanks sit on it. And between Zumba and Kuki, they should have no issues. The only thing that would scare them is if Libero dropped down behind them and started rocketing in. This is why Meko is so goddamn good. But this feels like, you know, the first push sort of finally going, right, hey. Munchkin gets onto the Junkrat this time, and probably has Ryu Jae-hong with him, or at least nearby somewhere. Zumba gets in as well, and hey, it works. They don't even need the EMP. That's just sloppy. Like, you've got to deal with this guy. Meko, his play throughout this series, like, he's just a scary roadhog. He just kills people. He's very consistent at it as well, which is just frightening. But yeah, point ticks up, and that is done. Looks like they're going to try and use the EMP on second. Actually, you know what? So Ryu Jae-hong stays on Sombra. This is an interesting team comp. Again, my issue with this team comp is that you're sort of asking to be like, if okay, so NYXL swap off. So you notice a couple of things happening. First of all, Roadhog and Risa are out. Hey Ryan, thank you for the host. Welcome, welcome everyone. So you notice that the Arisa and Roadhog are out. You want mobility, you want to be able to sort of set up on this high ground area up here, where we've seen sort of Outlaws do countlessly. This is where Jake makes his legend, by just standing up here and spamming through the choke point. Libero's going to recreate some of that magic for you. Meanwhile, some of the other team are going to be over here. You might have like the Widowmaker or a McCree either back over here. And so where do you EMP? So I'm always curious to see, like, if teams running something like this, like, why would you stay on the Sombra? Why wouldn't you just change off to something else? I mean, it's easy to build up EMPs. My question is, like, where do you put it to win? So he even uses Translocator. He's just going to go for Jijonak. Just kill him. Nice. Oh, almost kills Sabiolbi. Goes down in the result, though. But this is why Sombra dropped out, especially on like 2CP and shit, is because Mercy exists, and so it doesn't matter that Jijonak got completely shit all over, because Arc didn't get completely shit all over, so Arc presses Q, picks up Mano, picks up Jijonak. Jijonak can now ult if he really wants to, doesn't even need to. It does get sniped, but it's already too late. Mercy, again, pretty good. So yeah, unless, like, if, like, using this ultimate and, like, using a dive to focus and kill a Zenyatta is meaningless, because they're just going to use Valkyrie, and then you're kind of fucked, right? So this looks more typical. This is more standard, where they just want to get Fleder on the high ground, just want him shooting at people on the high ground. It's very difficult to dive into this team because they're going to have the McCree there. So notice he's just trying to shatter the barrier as quickly as possible, start advancing forward. Really nice job to find that kill. Beautiful stick. Like, McCree is actually one of the easier targets to stick, but hey, Mercy remains a good hero. Notice that Fleder stays on the high ground until he needs to drop, until it's sort of clear to drop down. Then we'll drop down. You probably didn't even need to do that. Ryujie Hong is also on the high ground. That's going to cause a lot of problems in the long term. If you can't deal with that, then it's just going to do a lot of damage to you. And crucially, they've managed to do it. Like, Sabielby's just killed everyone. I think this is the Sabielby show. Is he DMX Diva? So that's a lot of like the anti-tank power gone. Stays alive, manages to dodge all of this. Mano comes back. And like Sabielby is still a threat during all of this. Kills Toby, and then suddenly it's like, Sabielby, he's killing everyone. Hey, Smex. How's it going, my man? See, I'm curious, like, what's going through my brain right now is I'm curious to see what would have happened if Fleder stayed on the high ground. Maybe Fleder dropped down to try and contain Sabielby, but, like, I don't think a tracer of Sabielby's caliber will be too worried about McCree. It's a bit of a shame. Fleder sticks with the supports, flashes, but Sabielby's way out of there. And that's that. Yeah. Just, NYXL's, like, resources just go bad. I've gone too far back. Oh god, this is the problem when the VOD is so huge. I think I've skipped too far forward now. Oh, I've lost my place. No, this looks about right. This looks about right. Yeah, this looks correct. Okay, good. Whew. So Sabielby just sneaks through. Like, this is a bad miss. He shouldn't miss that. But Meko stays in. No, he does get the Meko. Jesus, I was about to say. Well, what the fuck happened to you, Meko? Where did you go? Where did you get caught, son? Looks like they're having a battle down here. And he just gets isolated and killed. What was he even doing down there? There we go, he gets nudged off the high ground by... So he rockets up to the high ground, gets pushed off by Meko. And then they just... Seoul just collapsed on Meko as he tried to go for Zumba. And no one supported him. Just good target focus. And no one could test the points, because they need to hold for a 1/3. Ugh. C9 lol. Just felt like Meko played a little bit too aggro and just got really badly punished for it. Kind of brutal. Skip. Was too busy boosting to Jonak? Maybe. It's an interesting thing, like, the damage boosted Zenyatta orbs is like, it kills stuff in chokes. It really does blender things as they go through chokes, so it's very, very powerful and not, like, I don't know, I don't think Toby could react. Not Toby, I don't think Art could react to that. Is this me or is Ohm's overlay overly shrunk? It's because it's a smaller version of the overlay, because I don't need the full one. There's no point in having the full one. Okay. So this is the quad tank. This has become relatively standard. What I'm scared of is if this becomes meta post-patch. Basically, you get a shitload of tanks, you have a shitload of mobility, you have a shitload of healing, you just run through, get on the point, fight on the point, build up some really powerful ultimates as well, and then use that to snowball to second. So it's a pretty straightforward comp, it's not that complicated. The hardest part to me with this comp is if it fucks up, it'll fuck up in a big way. So yeah, like as Semler points out, this is Moira. It can kind of be disgusting. As they go through, Zumba just charges through everyone, and then the helo comes down, and because it's Kuki hitting everybody as well, this healing orb is just getting so much value. Like, Zumba needed to eat this orb. And then just spraying through people. Just so much healing, so quickly. Like, NYXL haven't even taken a scratch by the looks of things. Straight onto the point. Now it gets difficult, because once the tanks are in position, you're going to have a hard time. Zumba goes onto the back line, Zarya peels. Very, very nicely done. Just good job by Libero. And it's like, you can't dive the Moira. Moira's going to be fine. She's got 4 tanks peeling for her, and Fade. So to me, this is just like this is kind of a rock paper scissors situation where one team, like dive versus quad tank in a more open, more payloady style map. The dive could probably get a lot done because you just build up ultimates very quickly on the tanks and just use those ultimates and cycle through them. But because this sort of smash and grab style for the tanks is so powerful, on 2CP they just run onto the point and then it's just like you have nothing that will kill the tanks or displace them. So it's just like, how the hell do you deal with all this? How the hell do you stop all of this just getting on there with this team lineup? If you have something more like the Orisa, then maybe you could do something better where you just sort of set up and just trade damage, because the Orisa can kind of get away with doing that and shreds tanks pretty well. But, yeah. Well, this is where it sort of all falls apart, because the quad tank on point B has a very, very hard time. Beautiful by Sabielby. It's a very big kill because Flare had a Dragon Blade. Dragon Blade isn't hugely effective here, but the thing with NYXL's comp is that they don't have many good ultimates to sort of stop the Dragon Blade. So they use the Sound Barrier, they've used all the support ultimates. And that sort of just goes perfectly for this team. Oh! Like, you have to get this. Like, this has to be the result, where you just get onto the point and get a couple of very quick early kills, and then you can just stay on the point and snowball from there. Munchkin has to evade for as long as possible. Zumba now stalling. They got a Reaper now. They might have wanted to swap to this earlier. Maybe they just wanted to hold on for the Dragon Blade, but grab comes through, and yep. This is just a successful snowball. And I think Libero is way too charged to be stopped at this point. Like, he's just doing too much damage too quickly, and there's nothing that can stop him. Though, Fleder's starting. Fleder gets Death Blossom out. Sound Barrier comes up once again. Like, so much healing coming through. As long as Libero keeps... Like, as long as Libero's alive, they won't be able to stop the DPS coming through here. That guy's doing like 100 damage per second. It's kind of freaky. But, like, the big thing was just the pick from Sabielby. Like, that could not be allowed to happen. So I think Ryu Jae-hong uses a trance at some point. Like, the ideal situation here is you probably just use Trance and Dragon Blade and then just win this fight. And once you've won this fight once and they use a lot of ults, then you kind of just win. Well, actually, you might want to hold on to... No, because you don't want to play around... Like, you don't want to play around them keeping the Zarya, because they probably won't. But this is just a disaster. Toby gets picked off as well. And then Ryu Jae-hong has to panic ult. And, yeah, it's just the 2 quick picks, and then it just snowballs really badly. Might just be a Seoul Dynasty a little bit too far forward, a little bit out of position. Like, they didn't need to sort of play into these tanks as much as they did. Maybe they underestimated how fast this team comp can move, but seems like a weird mistake for them to make, so benefit of the doubt. Just a couple of good hooks from Sabielby. Seoul Dynasty doing similar to before, but opting against the Widow this time. This time have like a triple dive with Tracer, Sombra, Fleder. See where they go. Again, Munchkin going this way with Fleder this time though. Munchkin again. Like, that health pack isn't hacked. because like this is the weird thing about how Seoul are playing this first point, because it's so strange to me. Like, it doesn't look like it's efficient. Like, you either do one or the other in my mind. You either send the Sombra into this way, take the health pack here, then play it slow here, build up the EMP, and then take the point that way. Or you send the Tracer and Sombra around this way, and then you engage one target on the point, and then just try and kill the target. Like, you bait the target onto the point, hack him, kill him with Tracer, okay, now you have a lot of pressure on the point. It's very strange to me to see, like, most of the team go this way, Sombra on her own go this way, and then try and contest the point. Because the Sombra on her own is going to have a really hard time against McCree or the Junkrat. And, like, the tanks over here are just kind of stuck twiddling their thumbs. But yeah, NYXL just do a sensible thing. They just sort of go into this area before Sombra gets there, take control of the space a little bit, try and get a quick kill or two. Now they're a bit hemmed in. And now, like, you have the dive on the point, trying to bait people into it. And now suddenly the immobility of NYXL's comp as they try and reposition, a little bit more exposed. But now, like, all the team is over on this side. Mecha remains a fucking beast. Is it because Sombra is basically invincible and will always trade for a DPS on the back cap? It's because Sombra plus Tracer will generally win out in fights. And teams usually only send one person back, and it's like it's almost like a read of, like, will they run the Sombra Tracer or will they just run Tracer? Because if it's just Tracer on the point, you send one person back, that's fine. But if it's Sombra Tracer, then the one person you send back will lose. If you send two people back, but they don't run Sombra Tracer and run just, you know, normal comp, and then they all just push in, you've just moved two people back, they catch you on the move, and they'll kill you. That's unfortunate. Feels a little bit disrespectful. When I say disrespectful, I mean, like, this is just overly ballsy. Double kill for Libero, and that's that. There's no way they can keep the EMP. See, what's nice about this situation, where they have the EMP and Dragon Blade, is, like, it's very, very easy to then set up a shitload of kills. Especially if you know where the Zenyatta is. All it takes is a dash, and so it's just basically like a free pickup for the Genji. And then the Genji can maybe deal with, like, the Mercy, for example, but Mercy has no ult charge, so hey. Like, that could have just so easily been a one fight if Fleda kept his dick in his pants for, like, 2 seconds longer. And now Zumba's so screwed. Like, this is showing Libero getting the grenade kill, but it was more. That was more Sabiobi being in the right place at the right time. As Flashbang will travel. Still staying on the Sombra. That's interesting. I mean, they have a window, like, there's no support ults. But they only have one to play around with as well. So focus goes onto Toby straight away. Ryu Jae Hong gets that EMP kill onto Jonak, just trades EMP for Zenyatta, which is a-okay. The health pack being hacked as well is actually just fucked Mako slightly. Fled is uncontested on high ground, and Hitscan on high ground. Win on Lunar Colony. That's how this works. Like, this is the #1 way of winning this map, is you put a hit scan onto the high ground while everyone's fighting on the point, and you will just start winning. Especially if there's a Zenyatta up there as well, but hey, your Zenyatta is busy killing the enemy Zenyatta. So that's interesting. But yeah, hit scan on high ground, win game. And so they still had seconds on the board, didn't they? So they still get that bonus, yeah, 1.9 seconds, so they'll still get that full minute. Did the stream lag out for anyone else? Just you, I think. So again, quad tank, but this time there's a change. Notice Fleda is playing the Junkrat. That will work a lot better. CBLB not opting for the tank, opting for the Widow instead. So they are without a Zarya this time. Libero this time actually playing the Roadhog. I do like the fact that they have, like, I will say this much. To Seoul's credit, they've played, like, different comps each time they've done things. They've changed one or two bits and pieces. It just makes them that little bit harder to read. Isn't staying on Zen when you know the enemy has EMP asking for trouble? What are your options? And it's Jonak, you wouldn't, like, I would just keep him on Zen. Like, them having a Sombra is honestly a bigger weakness than having Jonak on Zenyatta instead of, like, Lucio or something. Zen is just so powerful on that point. You just got to play around the fact that he's going to be EMP'd and killed, but as long as you time your ults right, you should be okay. Like, this Roadhog play from NYXL is seriously friggin' huge. So this, by the way, this is a good example of what I would term a rushdown comp, which is a comp where you just don't care what you're fighting as long as you find something to fight. So they spot Kuki. Kuki actually jumps in, bubbles, and then, like, they just know that, okay, this guy's got no cooldowns. We have a shitload of, we have two relatively mobile tanks. The hook comes through, waits for the defense matrix, and then it's just easy for Mecha to go in and finish off the kill. Like, it doesn't matter what target they find, as long as it's a big, easy to hit target, they will just kill it. You only going to do this match? Yes, probably. These are some sexy Roadhogs. I like them. Instant change from state. I fucking love this so much. ABL was on Widow, changes straight away to the Soldier 76 for point B. Good. I like that a lot. I really like Soldier or McCree on this second point. He's waiting for the Tracer, actually, I think. Judging from that positioning. He's trying to catch out if Munchkin's going to go in from behind. If I had to guess. Was it you who was saying you really want a better skilled Diva over a Roadhog? Still think the same after this match? Yeah, I'd kind of do. It depends on what the team lineups are running, though, and what your objectives are, but usually I'd say you really want a high skilled Diva. This is sort of the issue with this team comp, and this is where the Junkrat is just so useful, because he just instantly gets rid of 2, and then once that happens, yeah. And basically now, every time they try and push in, they're just going to be constantly getting like stuck by pulse bombs, playing into support ultimates, playing through grenades. There's no way that you can stay on this tank comp. And the issue that they're going to run into as well is, like, they don't have recovery in the same way that Seoul have recovery, so it surprised me to see them staying on this comp, because they don't have strong support ultimates. They have Sound Barrier and Coalescence. Sound Barrier is okay, Coalescence is pretty weak. But they're just going to keep charging onto the point, because that's where they have to fight. So as long as, like, Seoul can basically just keep Ryu Hong and keep Fleda on high ground and get a lot of work done there. Like, as long as those two are alive and are on high ground, they should be A-okay. That was huge. No res is going to make this very, very hard to hold. Which means that Ryu Hong has to use the ult to stall. But Fleda is still alive. He's still somewhere. Munchkin's come back and he's just shredding tanks. Because they can't kill anyone. I want to play the Where's Fleda game. Where is Fleda? Fleda, where are you? Where art thou? I think he's just on the rafters. Yeah, he just seems to be up there. Unless Meko goes and deals with him. They can't do anything about him. So he's just going to bounce grenades down. Yeah, he's on top. He's on the beam. And so, like, that's the issue with running this team comp when the enemy knows and sort of expects it, because you basically only have that one shot. You have one chance to get this right. And you have to just, like, slam into them on first point, get a big ultimate advantage, slam into them on second point, use the ultimate advantage, and win. Because if the enemy team gets a chance to use stuff like Valkyrie, Transcendence, starts using the Junkrat Riptire, and get some quick kills, you will just lose. Well, say BLB on the high ground, because Soldier's much, much stronger on there. And it's a place where you can maybe deal with Fleder, but Fleder's just going to focus him. Wouldn't surprise me if Zumba just goes and peels for him as well. Let's say BLB not on the high ground. If he's on the low ground, then he's just providing a healing field. But either way, they're going to get fucked. Like, say BLB's positioning was not the problem in that fight. The problem in that fight was that they're still running that comp. If you asked me. So this is much more standard. This is way, way more standard. Like, this is just so much more normal. You're just going to play for high ground, and especially with, like, the Roadhog as well, you're just looking for, like, 1 or 2 quick picks, double hit scan as well. The interesting part is they do send people to, like, peel around the side, especially as Fleder gets a bit greedy and starts sort of trying to run around. So, like, that's a really nice little push between Mecha and Libero. They can just go off on their own, go to the side angle. Forces a very, very early Valkyrie. NYXL seem to just want to slow it down, disengage slightly. Don't like the tanks. Don't like all the tanks moving to this low ground, though. Fine using the trance, because they're going to have Valkyrie. Whoa, Mecha, no! Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man, that was almost... Ooh, that's scary. Oh, man. Oh, that's such a scary, scary, scary moment. And so this is sort of how powerful Valkyrie is that just so Arc uses Valkyrie first, Ryu Jaehong trances, and by the time it's over, Arc is still in Valkyrie, still healing everybody. And I know he's healing for less, but it's still more than enough healing. It's a good double kill. And there we go. Ugh, Valkyrie. Some good ultimate, guys. Alright. Let's see. Let's see. So NYXL. Again, Tracer's Junkrat. Standard high ground stuff. Gonna try and use the ball and chain, get a quick pick. Seoul Dynasty, again going back to the Widow. Again doing this approach. Munchkin hopefully won't take a shitload of damage this time and maybe even be able to help his team out.
Welcome
nope.
to Overwatch, Monsilly.
Ball and chained, killed, trapped. Thank you, Mafkettle Daneland. So this is just good reads, I'd say. They know that people have been pushing through this time, so they just trap this door. Say BLB literally just waits. And hey. Pop, pop. Really nicely done. Like, that is really good reads. Like, they've realized, hey, Seoul have done this same, like, pathing every single time, so they just put the trap there and just kill. Really good. Like, it seems like such a simple thing, but it's just given them a big advantage in this first area, because that lack of tracer is going to cause a lot of issues. So, like, say BLB is now just dueling one-on-one. Now it's a 2v1, I think, because Munchkin's back. This is where it starts getting, like, you see instantaneously, this is what I'm talking about. This is why, in my mind, it's insane not to do this pathing every single time. Because, say BLB is busy fighting, and so, say BLB versus Munchkin. My money would be on say BLB, in most cases. And he's got a Zenyatta orb on him. Say BLB is feeling fine about this situation, and then suddenly, you know, Geonda, and then dead. The second that hack lands, he's dead. It's such a big deal. Now, on NYXL's favor, they have, like, a god tier. They have a bunch of god tier Roadhogs who are doing shitloads of damage all the time and managing to get huge amounts of value non-stop. Mana was also doing well. Libero has insane accuracy, no matter what hero he seems to be playing on. What a goddamn hero. So I think they give MVP of the series to Sabiobi. In my mind, it was Meko. Unfortunately, it's sort of, they spend so long trying to deal with all of this other bullshit that the tanks haven't been dealt with. Tanks managed to find position eventually, managed to get in, get themselves 1 or 2 more kills. Jajonek goes down. No, Jajonek's still alive. There we go. Fleda finally scoops him up. And now it's like tanks and a Widowmaker. And the Widowmaker's in like the world's most awkward position. Toby kills Ark somehow. Where that happened, I don't know, but it's a very big kill because Ark was on the verge of getting his ult. Toby, you fucking hero. Okay, technically it's... I would still give this kill to Fleta because he gets a headshot during all of this. There it is. Toby finishes him off. Toby surviving that is huge because it means that Fleta can just stay there and just keep landing shots. I'm like, this is what I mean by this series being a bit of a complicated one, because it isn't a simple like matter of, oh, so-and-so used their ults badly. It's like a lot of little outplays where Toby managed to outplay Meko just to survive long enough to deal to give Fleta a moment to land a headshot that lets them kill that target, that lets them sort of start getting back on and taking that point. It's also very, very small things that end up happening. And it's kind of like just a subtle thing. Ryuji Hong almost has ult. Fleta is playing out of his mind. This is like where Fleta is also ridiculously impressive, because he's playing like you are going up against one of the best tracers in the world, playing on a stage in front of over 100,000 people, with the clock's already ticked down. You're playing in Widowmaker, and you have to remain calm enough and practiced enough to be able to land shots like these, where you make a huge difference and manage to shoot one of the slippiest tracers in the game. And he just gets him. Like, that is so respectable. It's so respectable. And then all that hard work is instantaneously undone because Ark presses Q and then flies in and presses E again and then goes and kills Fleta. Because Fleta can't kill Ark, because Ark is too fast and too evasive and has too much freedom of movement in the air, and it's way too hard. And so now Sabiobi is back on the point, and they can't do anything about it. Valkyrie. I saw in the chat yesterday, was it yesterday during Scrim Central? I saw someone, I think, being very sort of defensive about, hey, you know, people seem to like want Mercy nerfed in the ground. It isn't that we want Mercy nerfed in the ground, although I do agree that like community sentiment, and I blame Blizzard for this more than anything, that Blizzard let this sort of fester long enough in the community where you just start resenting Mercy. You just absolutely start resenting what she does to the game, because Fleta did an incredible thing there, and then it's just instantaneously undone, and it's so obnoxious, and it's like, I just want it out of the game. It's so frustrating to see that happen. So, again, NYXL, not changing anything up. Seoul Dynasty, not changing much up as well, just getting a good some... the big thing here is actually all this grenade spam landing. Actually, they have changed 1 or 2 things up, so Sabiobi's back on the Hog, Libero's back on the Zarya. You know, all these hits landing is actually quite a big deal, because the Riptire is just going to be devastating. This could be Meko's fuck-up, and this is why I say having a really solid diva is really important, because... like, it's your diva's job, and maybe partially your Reinhardt, but your Reinhardt doesn't want to barrier up because he'll fall behind. So he's trying to barrier up as little as possible. So it's more on the shoulders of your diva to catch the biggest components of this damage. And so Fleta's managed to build up a Riptire in this amount of time. And, like, the Riptire is the only thing on Seoul Dynasty that can really just kill these tanks in record time. Gets rid of the Moira. That's a huge percentage of healing gone. Moira already... did Moira already use Coalescence, or did Moira just not build it? No, Moira's already used Coalescence. So, on the counter side, hey, Moira's built up a lot of ultimate charge. Isn't that amazing? But Riptire beats Coalescence. Fleder did get killed for his trouble, which is nice, but this is now scary because you've just lost one of your main sort of healing components. Seoul Dynasty still have theirs, and the fight's slowed down enough now that Seoul Dynasty are still getting work done. And crucially, they're getting these ultimates charged as well. They're getting the Valkyrie charged, they're getting Transcendence charged. And this is where this strategy gets so fucking hard now, because it's like, you have this 4-tank comp, they know exactly what you're going to do, exactly how you're going to path, and you see NYXL have to change. So most of their heroes now change. Only Meko stays on the same hero. How... Like, it's a powerful strategy, but the downside of it is so huge. Because now they're basically playing from 1 minute 15. As if they're 1 minute 15 in the clock. Munchkin has to be very careful here. That felt like a bit of poor calling, though. That felt very, very strange. Like, both your flankers are off on one side fighting the Tracer, and then your tanks dive into a Junkrat. Into a team with ultimates. They get the they get the Zenyatta, but it just feels like, you know, in my mind, what are Libero and Sabiel be doing? Like, I understand, I imagine the call from NYXL is go pressure the shit out of the Zen and just get the trance, because if you get the trance, then you have a good chance of winning, but that could have gone so much worse. Like, if they didn't get that Transcendence, they would be in a lot of trouble. There's still a chance here, though. They have to try and get a stick or get the Dragon Blade in position on the Mercy. The Burrow has to be very careful. They start playing heavily around the point. Mercy Valkyries. That kill doesn't count for anything. Ark's going to have his ultimate. Very good kill onto Zumba. Did Zumba just bomb that? Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I think having Zumba just shooting people on the point is going to be infinitely useful. Toby's forced to slow res, can't slow res, so dies. This is the Dragon Blade they had to be scared of, but Ryu Jae-hong with the fucking clutch. 50 hit points, bump. Just a body shot, that's all he needed. Just kill the fucking Genji. Amazing how regularly that works as a strategy. That means Ryu Jae-hong has enough time to get the Transcendence up and running. People are coming back now, though it's a long run, so you see Toby changing off to get back, but hey. Did Zimba actually get res, or did Zimba run all the way back? I think Zimba just ran all the way back. That res went off, I'll be furious. Wait. Come on, Twitch player. If he has a baby... No, okay, he didn't get res. Thank fuck. If that res went off... Like, Mercy players lose all right to complain. Because, holy shit, that would be complete bullshit. Jae-hong is scary. That's a, Jejonak is scarier, which is saying something. That said, I'd like to see them both on Ana. That would be amazing. It's just well played by Seoul. Just like good peace of mind. Just good sort of. This is sort of the advantage of having a team of veterans because they're all steady, and like none of them seem to panic. None of them seem to get phased by the circumstances. They play steady. They play regular, and they keep on going. Some cool statistics halfway through. Only one pulse bomb kill. Seems a little bit. 35% accuracy as well. These are just numbers to keep in mind for your own play. Note that their accuracy, they're playing against better players than us mere mortals, so you got to keep that in mind. Munchkin, better accuracy, hero damage done. So this is kind of an interesting contrast. Where this contrast comes from is you got to remember, say BLB is fighting against mostly like dive comps and like Junkrat comps that Seoul were running. Seoul never ran Seoul ran like the Sombra comps, stuff like that, Munchkin's playing against tanks, and so therefore will do a lot more DPS. Just because he has bigger targets to shoot at. Also, his accuracy is going to be higher because, again, he's spending spending a lot of his time shooting at stuff like Divas, Roadhogs, Reinhardts, much easier targets to hit. Jonak isn't pronounced J Jonak. No, it's pronounced J Jonak because he's playing for NYXL, and so he's J Jonah Jamison. J Jonak Jamison, yeah. Jameson, there we go. Words. That's why he's called J Jonak. Zerby wasn't on trade all the time. Yes, also true. He swapped around a lot more. Crit accuracy 30 fucking %. Like, that's crazy. It's literally twice mine. Healing done. It was only playing Moira very briefly, but still, a lot of healing. Okay damage as well for a support. Not surprising coming from J. Jonah Jameson. So Jonak is except you shout the J? No. I refuse. It's however I want to fucking pronounce it. If he spells it that way, I'm going to pronounce it that way. What are they? So I think this is where they're talking. Yeah, so they're talking about how Sabi is like a tracer hunter. He spends a lot of his time just hunting tracers. Like, I don't know why I'm drawing over their lines. I actually want to see how this plays out from the above view, and I'm going to talk over Reinforce just to sort of put the sting on him. Like, this was the interesting part. Like, I commented on this, where like Fled is watching this, covering this angle. They managed to sort of use the tanks to break out, and so they all peel this way. Fled drops down, goes under, and then comes back up this way. It's so strange. It's like a weird motion that I don't fully understand. Because it's like, I don't really give a shit about the Tracer battle, to be honest. So yeah, just comments on Fleta. Skip forward. Tanks playing the point. These guys occupy high ground. Get ready for a dive engagement because they're playing a dive comp. Meko actually spots. It's like he spotted Fleta, or they knew he was there. Goes around, he's just there to catch him. Easy kill on all of it. And then, hey, they have... Okay, this is a different clip because they had Valkyrie. To me, that entire moment just felt very strange from Fleta. Coming soon. Access granted. A behind-the-scenes look at the Overwatch League. Ooh. I already get tons of tasty tidbits from Sty. Like, I knew about the days since last Cloud9 sign in the Spitfire's training room. Speaking of Spitfire, it's their favourite map. It's Oasis. Oh boy. Trace of Ice from a butter. I really like the minimap. Like, I would love to see that more. It's so good for just sort of working out how teams are positioning strategically. Like, it's annoying because it's very hard to sort of out-analyze the Overwatch League because they have so much cool stuff and cool toys. They have better numbers than we have. They have better views than we have. So it's like, it's really hard to sort of use. It's also Ryan's. Yep, it's Ryan's favourite map. You should put the minimap in a corner. They should find a way to, like, use it more. It would be nice. I mean, what I would love, like, to me, again, the ideal is, like, being able to do something like where you watch it through an in-game sort of interface like Dota or Counter-Strike, and you just watch it through that back end, and you can bring up all the UI elements you want, and you could sort of have the minimap if you want it. Why are they both swapping? Is this to get 2 speed boosts? So I'm looking at Seoul Dynasty, like, I'm looking at what they're doing with the supports. So this isn't unusual where you have someone on the Lucio and you just speed boost out the door, get your team out faster, and then you swap to Mercy. But having Toby, like, not just stay on the Lucio, does that mean that Toby has a speed boost as well? So maybe he's carrying Ryu Jae-hong? That's really cool. That's really cool. Like, that's so small, but I don't know how much actual advantage it gives, but if it does give one, that's pretty neat. So, to me, the big difference, by the way, when watching this game, okay, one of two things. Libero is a fucking beast on Pharah, and they're running without a main tank on this team. Hog Diva. So, they just want to brawl with people as much as possible. Like, they want to bring in a Winston or a Diva and just kill the shit out of it. They want to find something that they can hit, and hit it super hard. Again, playing more of a rushdown style. So muscling way onto the point. Kuki's going to have a real goddamn hard time, as you can see, as he goes down. Like, what can Winston do against such reckless hate? I mean, what do you go for? You've got to go for the Zenyatta, but he's surrounded by so many things that you're never going to get onto him. So the moment that Kuki pokes his head out, he's just going to friggin' get hooked and killed. What a man of war. Boat puns. Fledegg does get a good kill. He's actually ahead of Libero at the moment, but hey, Arx is there with the res. And this is why, like, I'm going to keep harping on the Mercy nerf, because people are very, very opposed to it. But it's like, oh, well, Mercy can never get off the small res. This is Overwatch League. Notice what happens. Important target goes down. Team pulls back, covers the Mercy. Mercy gets off an important res. Like, that's just good play from NYXL to bring the Zenyatta back. Like, you want that Zenyatta. You need that Zenyatta to Discord orb things, to provide extra DPS. He's a huge factor in fights. It's a big deal. It warms my heart, by the way, to see Toby playing on the Lucio. Toby's Lucio is god tier. And it seems to be working for Dynasty. They're just getting onto, like, they're getting onto the Zenyatta better than, like, Zen can't evade as well as Toby can, so hey, Toby's surviving a lot better. Well, there was a minimap for all of 2 seconds. Interesting positioning from Toby. To, like, be so safe. Sabiobi has to be so careful. That was nice, holy shit. Diva goes for a Diva bomb, Sabiobi just finds him and sticks him. It's like the ultimate BM. It's like, oh, you just left the safety of your mech. I don't even know where he is. I think he's underneath. Sabiobi just finds him, kills him. Ryu Jae-hong has to ult, brings him back. This is the downside, of course, of killing baby divas, so they can be rezzed.
Welcome to Overwatch,
Hey, Oblivion DVDR. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you on board. I'm guessing Oblivion Divider, maybe? That's what I'd speculate. Fledder presses Q and respawns. Libero also pressed Q at some point. But yeah, pressing Q with J. Jonah Jameson on the map is not a good idea. He wants pictures of Spider-Man and he is pissed. So he just nails the headshot. I mean, instant res, because hey, this is a thing. This is a bad thing. When did Ryu Jae-hong ult? He's already ulted, okay. I think it did protect from Libero's barrage, so it's okay. It's okay. As long as Jonak stays alive, like, it feels like Seoul have nothing else they can really fight realistically. Correct, my first Twitch sub. Welcome. Thank you. It's very generous. Oh, let's see. So again, the tanks on Seoul have to be super careful with how they're positioning this, because one mistake and they will just die. Like, look how low Kuki is, and he's just instantly had to ult, and he's already down to half again. Like, that is so good. Watch Kuki's hit points. Just watch up here. Ignore everything else, watch up here. Takes a bit of armor damage. Goes in, instantly chunked, instantly down, instantly primal rages. Straight away, already lost 500 hit points. Has to get out. Can't stay in there. I mean, Zumba has to pull back. That means everyone else has to sort of take it careful. Jijonic has to ult just to stay alive, though. Beautiful hook, but good block by Kuki just to stop that coming through. Really nice tanking. I think Semba even highlights that because it's just like a really cool little moment. A lot of damage goes on to Ryu Jae-hong, but he just flies up. He's A-okay. Discord orbs on him. He's been pulled back to the ground. Maybe if a little bit more focus goes on him, it could go to his favor. So BLB finds his target, the Tracer, of all things, killing the Pharah. What happened to you, Fleda? Let's find out. What happened to Fleda? It's being chunked, being chunked. Jijonic happened, I think. Why never ever Reaper in the rushdown? I mean, he's bad here, but he's not on horizon either. Because you just want the tanks. I think you might be able to make it work with the Reaper. It's just, like, you probably want the Zarya as well, just to have the Graviton Surge as a sort of a finisher. And Zarya's just better, sort of, in terms of versatility. Like, I don't think the Reaper plays nice against the stuff that people run to counter that comp, which is going to be the Junkrat. So you're going to struggle there. I mean, like, if Temple of Anubis popped up, you might see the Reaper instead. Like, that's where that sort of comes in more as well. Where the point's a little bit tighter, there's not as much high ground as well. Because Reaper doesn't do well against high ground, so that's probably why. Munchkin gets a stick on, I'd say, the LB by some miracle. These Pharahs have to be so careful with each other. Soul use a very early sound barrier. What triggered that sound barrier? Let's find out. Eats a rocket. Overtime's triggered. Just use it, I think. Just assumes, hey, this is going to be the last fight, better just throw it out. The issue is that NYXL, wait, that's a big kill. Jijonic goes down. Might have just been sort of, like, this is where, like, a little bit of pre-discussion goes a long, long way, because its arc instantly has already ulted, so he's just going to pick Jijonic back up. That's a pretty big ult advantage now on their side. Libero should just get picked up. It's a good kill from Fleda. That one kill is more than enough because now Ark is in a difficult position. Picks up Libero instead of Mano. Ryu Jae-hong almost has his own Valkyrie though, that could just turn this. They have to be very careful. Again, focus not quite good enough on Kuki as well. So Kuki's sort of getting away a little bit. Will be healed up. Whiffed Pulse Bomb from Munchkin. This is like one of the differences I'll highlight between Munchkin. Remember when I was talking about like pressure? Like this reads as pressure to me. Where it's just like maybe a slightly steadier, cooler hand, cooler mind, that kind of thing would have worked a little bit better. It gets a stick on something instead of missing, and then suddenly the game changes because Jijonic doesn't shoot Ryu Jae-hong out the sky. You know, there's very, very, very thin margins, but just having that sort of coolness of head is going to make a big difference in the long term. Why do they move to the point? Because they have 4 tanks, so you run to the point. If you run off the point with 4 tanks, the enemy team stands overlooking the point or somewhere overlooking you and just shoots you to death. Whoop. This was heartbreaking. Yeah, I don't know if Meko intended to do this. I imagine so. Notice that the focus is completely on J. Jonah Jameson. Notice that the tank peel is instantly on J. Jonah Jameson. This was lucky as all hell, because holy shit. What do you do about that? Now, Art can't res that is the thing. Like, that's a big deal. A D.Va involved in this fight is a huge thing. D.Va has a lot of damage to a lot of tanky targets. Ryu Jae-hong would have definitely died to that as well. Does die in the end anyway. But holy shit. That's such a big deal. Swort's coming out. Meko is pulling a boombox. Seoul is a friggin' legend once again. Just to sort of point it out. There are 2 people left on the point. There's a Winston, who is, I think, barely going to get away. And Mercy, who is floating around in the sky because she has Valkyrie. And Seoul, who is not only staying alive, but he's just killing people. And now suddenly it's sort of like, this is not clear cut. This is not clear cut at all. Like, the reason why that happened is because A, Ark had Valkyrie, and B, Seoul is a monster. An absolute monster. Like, just throughout all of this fight, like, Dive goes onto Jejonak, Zumba gets himself a bunch of nice kills, a lot of DPS is now dead, Jejonak gets himself another nice kill, ults, wait, I've gone too far back, this is too far back. Way too far back, holy shit. This is the annoying part about the Twitch player, this is where we want to be. So, like, teams both lacking ults. NYXL almost on top of it though. Seoul dive Jejonak, kill him. Counter dive comes through, punishes the tanks, manages to get one of the DPS down as well. Then it's like Seoul get the game-winning play. That D.Va bomb kills 2. Suddenly, hey, 4 people, well, 3 people alive. 2 people alive. But Arca crucially is in Valkyrie. So now Seoul has to do so much. Goes down, gets rezzed, Mano comes back, starts stalling. 3-on-3 on the point, Valkyrie is active. Fledder's just come back into the fight as well. And they're not just surviving, this is what's impressive. Like, this is what I really want to ground home as being impressive. Seoul isn't just surviving, but he's killing people and surviving. That's hard. That's very hard to do. He's not just in full evasion mode, he's still getting kills. He's still beating people. That's so impressive. God, you feel so bad for Meko in that instance. Okay.
Welcome to Overwatch, mon chéri.
Wow, 5 months BTW, nice to have you back.
Thank you for sticking around for 5 months as well. Thank you, BSTC_. It's appreciated. So, Bongo Bunker. Very standard, very typical strat, especially on this map. You basically play to take a very small part of the map, so all they need to take is this one. So they just need to take this little bit of space here with this strat. Anyone who tries to dive into it and tries to run into it will be met with a horrendous fate. You have ball and chain comp, you have flashbangs, you have traps and bombs. Very, very difficult to dive into. The only hard part is if Ryu Jae-hong lands a couple of good headshots from the side, or if they get a really, really solid dive and manage to get onto Jejonak. But very difficult to do. So again, you'll very rarely see them sort of playing on the middle of the point. The only person really who's going to be around the middle of the point is going to be Meko. Otherwise, they're always just going to be skirting around the edges. The Seoul, too afraid to even get on the point. Didn't get the answer. Stream video about Boston, London, and Philly and New York. Boston and London is very likely. I'll probably do that for Stai's channel though. So keep an eye on unit lost. So Fledder on the rat, going to be very, very important for cracking this comp. It's not too surprising to see. It's surprising to see, like, this is the thing with Kuki, is he's very readable. He just seems to play Winston and nothing else, so like, you know that you're not going to have to worry about an Orisa strat. And Zumba, like, Zumba just doesn't come off the D.Va much as well. And this is what I was talking about, like, if that pick comes through on the Zen, then this is going to get difficult. Because the Zen gives you just a lot of outward pressure and makes it much harder for the Winston to get a lot done. Because Winston is just a lot tankier when he's not being shredded by a Discord Orb. Once the Zen goes down, it's just a matter of picking targets, cleaning up. They lost Toby early. Oh right, yeah, that happened, didn't it? Wasn't it just Yonet gets a snipe on him? For fuck's sake, stop showing me players' faces. Did it already happen? There it is. Damage amp, right click. Zenyatta wins you a fight. Why would, you know, like, that wouldn't happen if you had an Orisa, or it's very unlikely if you had the Orisa. So, yeah, it just seems strange. Where's Kuki and Winston when they have Miro? Kuki seems to be the more aggressive Winston. Miro plays a lot more survivable. It could also be that Kuki's just been outperforming Miro in scrims. Like, that could literally just be the reason. You don't need a more deep technical reason than that. This is sort of welcome to the Jake show. I'm so glad that it's sort of become a Twitch meme that Jake is now like the universal poster boy of Junkrat spamming into a choke point. So the disadvantage, of course, of, like, it's not even looking. Dead. Nice try, kid. I mean, turnabout is fair play. Like, Seoul got, well, they lost their support very, very early in a fight, and hey, it happened right back to them. The crucial thing is that Ark has Valkyrie, so hey, Reses come through. This was an unfortunate moment. Luckily, Libero saves the day slightly, but yeah. So, Sabiobi's holding onto the Deadeye to counter the Valkyrie. Like, it's very, very punishable. If Mercy gets too eager, you can definitely punish it, but Libero has to use Riptide and manage to counteract that and dies in the process, which is a shame. And I imagine he would rather use that on something else, so... Sabiobi pulls the trigger a little bit too early. Have you heard the Dallas AKM news? Yes, I have. It makes me a little bit sad to see, like, Rogue split up, though. So it also strikes me as like an interesting pickup. I imagine they want him as a Genji player, because they lack a really good solid Genji. I imagine he's also like a lot of the Rogue players do strike me as being relatively level-headed people and experienced. Most of them are like veterans of the scene, so they might want that veterancy in their sort of lineup. But I mean, Seagull's also a veteran, so it's kind of, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Taimu said he lost his aim. Yeah, that's the thing. Like AKM's like hit scan, so it's strange to see that. Unless they want Taimu as like a full-time off tank, maybe. It's weird. We'll see. What? C9? Hello? Hello? I was waiting for a fight to start there to start talking about it, and it didn't start. Just guys, please. Like, there's literally a diva right there. There's literally a diva right there. Meko, what are you doing? What are you doing? C9. For fuck's sake. Dallas was looking to run the 4-1-1 ladder comps. Dallas have actually long run mono support comps. So you guys, Genji isn't bad though? It's not bad, but not bad is not good enough for what Dallas want to be. Dallas want to be one of the top teams in the league. You can't have a Genji that is not bad. You have got to have a Genji fighting for the top spots in the league. Or you're going to be shit all over from a great height by better Genjis. So this is, again, you're seeing like a lack of main tank out of NYXL, just opting for the Roadhog and the Diva. So this is sort of a standard rollout. This is sort of very, very standard positioning coming out of Seoul. What they're going to do is they're going to try and occupy the high ground on here. So you'll see like Winston and Diva jump up on top of there. You'll see Tracer, I think she'll either go around or she'll go around this way. And you'll see the Pharmacy push in through the middle. NYXL look to punish this. So the Divas occupy standard positioning, but crucially the Roadhog I think peels to the left. And Roadhog comes in and gets onto Zumba. So they isolate a tank target and then try and take it out. Like, again, rushing tanks down. Zumba does a good job of surviving. Mercy now has to get on him, so they have to put all the healing on him. Notice that Libero is just slamming damage onto the floor. Manages... Does he land a rocket? Looks like he does onto Toby. So, just waiting for a big chunk. There it is. That's the rocket. I imagine that's a rocket. It could be a Jijonak as well. But then Toby Obby's just there to finish it off. Nice. Just good, like... good understanding of what they want to be doing from NYXL, and then once that first kill goes through, like, the mobility of the Didassy's comp drops considerably, the amount of healing output drops considerably, and suddenly it gets way too hard to stay alive and they just die. Really, really nice. I want to see Chris, Zephyr, and Smex in Overwatch League. I don't know if Smex is still here, I don't know if Smex is still watching. I think Chris is Overwatch League ready. I don't think Smex quite is, and I don't think he'd disagree with me too much on that. I'd like to see Smex playing on a contenders team at the very least. I definitely think he's contenders worthy. Smex could also... he could be on one of the lower tier Overwatch League teams as well, like Shock, for example. Might play well with Fusion as well. I'd just like to see him develop a bit more veterancy in the scene, just get a bit more experience under his belt, and then go from there. But Chris will be a huge asset to any team that has him. I think Chris is playing for Mosaic at the moment. So, like, this is just good focus by Seoul, but just even better healing and support coming from NYXL to keep Jijonak alive long enough. Dive's just crossing over, so BLB's getting results. Toby can't juke Mano for too long, and there we go. Like, the Roadhog play out of NYXL is exceptional. Like, both Mano and Meko have both been superb. Mosaic, yeah, I know Mosaic have the contender slot, which is good. Is Golden Boy Overwatch League ready as a caster? Probably not as a caster. Definitely as a host. Probably not as a caster. Probably more contenders. I would consider myself a contenders level caster as well. The nice thing about working on something like contenders as well is you'd hopefully be working with others who will be able to sort of help you get better. Like, one of the things with the Overwatch League is that it puts all the talent in one place and they're just going to get better and better and better. Nice defensive positioning from NYXL, just biding the time. They can pick and choose their target. Kuki jumps in. Kuki's going to be in a lot of trouble, I imagine. Kuki dies. Like, tank shredding comp, right? One team can engage super heavy on tanks, one team can't because one team has the Roadhog, one team has Winston. So Seoul have to engage on supports. This means that NYXL can just play sort of counter dive and peel. Just get the kills as they're needed. Like, they don't even get Jijonak. Ruzia Hong picks everyone back up. Ark starts picking people up as well. Crucially, Toby is also dead and hasn't been rezzed, so no secondary ult. Jijonak still can hold on to his, which is fine. Like, NYXL play this strategy amazingly well. Like, this is just good solid counter dive. Hashtag own for Overwatch League. No. No. I don't think I'm Overwatch League ready. Overwatch League is too big for me. I want contenders. Does anyone know if Monty is always salty or is it his persona for casting? It's his persona. Like, Monty is like very much the straight man, and he will play to the statistics and sort of normal patterns. So he's like, Monty will sort of always, you know, Monty is not the guy who will go, oh, it's the underdog's alright, it's the underdog's time to win. Monty is the guy who will just go, no, this is the team that is proven, is likely to win, this is probably the team that's going to win. So, like, Monty will always go for the safe bets. The safe bets are normally Korean, and he sort of, through League of Legends, basically League of Legends fans in particular were kind of obnoxious about sort of being hard on Koreans. Let's just jump forward. Oh, it's everyone's favourite. Junk it down. So, like, League of Legends fans, like, yeah, oh, TSM is going to totally beat all the Koreans at Worlds. Oh, yeah, CLG has got this. Oh, Cloud9 are going to smash them all. And then it's just like, no. Like, every single time Korean teams have gone up against Western teams in League of Legends, the Korean teams have smashed them. Stop it. You're being morons. So yeah, like Monty became the villain for a lot of like storylines because League of Legends makes most of its money in North America. They always try to have like a slight North American bias in their storylines, and so Monty was always there to sort of play the villain to that. And like, oh yes, well you got to keep in mind that hey, they're gonna get smashed. So yeah. Oh look, Nightbot caught something that looks very, very spammy. I've seen that spam before. I've seen that spam a number of times. It's terrible. Okay, let's see what they're running. So let me go through this team lineup because this is a really cool team comp. If they are keeping Wicked, it's Wicked, bruv, Wicked. Anyway, they're keeping. I've no like Wicked. I'm gonna keep like Wicked. They're keeping Wicked on the Hanzo. So the way that this works is Koreans tend not to play especially like NYXL. I know NYXL I think do bring up the Bastion. Seoul don't like the Bastion strat. Seoul tend to play this double sniper and then tend to throw in like a Junkrat or a Roadhog. But yeah, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to bust this barrier, and then the second this barrier goes down, you'll fire a scatter arrow. And what you're trying to do is blow up one of the tanks, or you're trying to blow up the Bastion, like if they have one. So that's where the Hanzo sort of comes in, because you can usually find angles to at least get the scatter through, and you're really heavily relying on that. Checking for the common Widowmaker spot. Keeping an eye out for it, because Widow likes to peek through there. So again, playing very carefully. Realizing, hey, they don't have a Bastion, so we could probably be a little bit more aggressive with our tanks. Wicked swaps off the Hanzo, yep, because again, there's no Bastion for them to shoot at. The NYXL is a little bit more mobile. They could still go for the Orisa with it, but why not go with the Junkrat? Just try and smash them down. So have we got a mirror matchup? I do believe we do. Oh, lovely. Hey, we've got a Widow battle as well on the side that we pan the camera off it. I wanted to watch that. Ball and chain goes for something, doesn't quite find it. Ball and chain from the opposite side does find a target, and that's going to make a big difference. Ryuji Hong gets shredded and killed. Feels bad. It seems like there's been less and less of the pirate ship on Junkertown. Even when it doesn't perform, Pros just solved it. I wouldn't say Pros has solved it. I'd say Pros probably like trying to find other options, but when it works so well that it's like it's always going to be in your back pocket. It's just occasionally running other things is a-okay. Koreans in particular don't tend to like it. That's what I'll say. This seems like a bug, like this Widow positioning over here. I've seen the Widows go for that occasionally, but yeah. Again, ball and chain. Like this isn't even complicated. This isn't hard to do. If you want to do this in your games, you're playing with an Orisa. I mean, me and Ryan can friggin' do this, and we do this occasionally, where you use the Orisa, and like the cool thing that they're doing with it is they're firing it above where the barrier would be, and they're pulling people forward in front of the barrier, and the Mecho's you just hook where the orb goes, get yourself a free target. Doesn't really matter what you pick up as well, as long as you just drag it out. They're doing it right back. A little bit out of sync, and NYXL just seem a little bit better at it. And then during all of this, Libero's been spamming away against Toby. Feels good. As much as you like a casting career, I'm sure Josh would prefer Widow for Rome. Oh man, I would be happy retiring being Widowmaker's boy toy in a flat in Annecy. And then likely killed. But I'd die happy. I think she is slightly out of my league, however. Anyway. Libero, just going to be spamming away. No problem. Support ults come in on one side, Seoul crucially playing that mono support comp. That's just because, like, you see this a lot on Junkertown. A part of why is because Junkertown comps tend to be extremely bursty, so having that dual support doesn't make a huge difference. Like, it doesn't matter how many healers you put on the targets that are getting shot at in Junkertown, they're usually just going to be dead regardless. So it's very, very hard. You see Libero twitching all over the place trying to survive that Widowmaker. Like, it's going to have a hard time getting through here even. It does manage to do so. Those two defensive support ultimates going to make all the difference. As you got to get through a Transcendence and a Valkyrie, and you just have a Valkyrie to use. It's going to be difficult. Wicked does it though. So they actually did it. Nice. Oh, right. I remember how this goes. Getting it slightly backwards. So let's go to the start of this fight. Where does Seoul pull the advantage from? That's a really good first pick. Bongo goes down instantaneously as well. Like the Bongo, like one of the cool things about having the Orisa Hog is that Bongo plus Whole Hog is very, very powerful. Very, very good at killing people very, very quickly. Anything pushing into that is just going to get torn to shreds. So this forces out, and looks like, layered support ultimates. Layered support ultimates. That very, very fast kill from Fleder forces out the reses. Kuki goes down, Kuki gets up again. Kuki gets Jonak. Again, Zenyatta has huge, huge contributions in fights. Ryuja Hong goes down, gets put back up again. Why do teams run much less piracy on this match than before? Again, like people have said, maybe it's been solved in scrims more. Like maybe people are just beating it more in scrims and know how to deal with it better. In which case, I'd love for the pros to spread that information to us plebs. But otherwise, it could just be like Koreans and Seoul in particular tend not to enjoy running that comp quite as much. So it's just an aspect of how they play. That's a shame for Wicked. I'm like, hang on, what the fuck? Reinforcements just came back quick enough, I guess. I guess NYXL just held that fight long enough. It felt like Seoul were about to win it. Right, they have both tanks alive. Yeah, respawns have come back. Massive's come back, so Seoul just give it up for now. And just back off. So let it go. So we got 2 picks. That would probably do it. Did he? Come on, Twitch player. This is where the Twitch player is fucking useless at times. Come on. Okay, now we're all the way back at the start of the fight. For fuck's sake. Oh, the Twitch player is a bore-like at times. It's not as smooth as the YouTube one. Like, Kuki down, Kuki up. They have 5 alive. No, they have 4 alive at this point. Ryu Jae-hong's just gone down. Ryu Jae-hong's back up. Mano's just got himself a kill. Fleder's just picked that one up. Okay, yeah, Sabiel's starting to clean up on the back line. Gets a kill on Safletta. Even though you still have the 2 tanks. But I suppose if your tanks are like a Risa Diva, you don't actually have as much kill power as what the enemy team's running, and now reinforcements are back. Why not use the individual game thoughts? Because it's just easier to use the big single one rather than fucking around with it halfway through the video. And then having to worry about showing you guys my desktop. This pick comes through. Wicked. Like, one of the best ways, and like this is just good general advice, one of the best ways to deal with the Riptire is if you do have your own Junkrat and just use the bomb. It's super reliable. Won't be after the changes, but is for now. Did Libero just try a jump shot? Nope, Fleder just did a jump shot himself. That's why. And there we go. Arc uses ult. Jonak goes down. Crucially, that's actually pretty big. Ryu Jae-hong is back on the Zenyatta as well, which is quite big. That means they're not going to have Transcendence in this fight. Again, Kuki just gets... No, Kuki actually gets the full bongo off. That's pretty good. Just going to stall this out for a little bit longer. Miko... How did Miko get over there? Like, this is why I want the friggin' aerial view. Because this... Oh, there he goes. There he goes. You just spot him out on the side. There he is. He gets blasted off onto the side, has half of his paint can, and then goes on a bit of an adventure. Man, I want to see Miko's adventure. There we go. Miko's adventure. It's like, oh, I'm here. Pulls to the right with a shot. Bit of a shame. Junkrat is a balanced hero. And there we go. Near wallpaper? Yep. Still have the near wallpaper. I need to add some more. I want to change it around. I'll probably get myself a Widowmaker wallpaper. Probably get myself a Drakengard 3 wallpaper. And probably get myself a Dragon Ball FighterZ wallpaper as well. Some of that sweet Android 21 action. Wicked just biding his time, looking for any flankers. There aren't any on NYXL's team, and also going to be waiting for the Riptire. During all of this time, though, ball and chain. Like, look at the amount of supports involved in this kill. But that's Arisa pull, Discord orb, damage boost. Now, I want to watch Zumba's hit points. And like the fact that Zumba gets pulled here, like how does this happen? We can actually see Zumba. Wait, what? No, he just gets hooked, I think. Yeah, he just gets hooked. He doesn't even get pulled. He just gets hooked. For fuck's sake. God damn it, guys. Drakengard for evening streams? God, no. I have no interest. I read an LP of Drakengard, like all the Drakengard games. I have no intentions of playing that fucking game. It apparently plays awfully anyway. But it's still Yoko Taro, and Yoko Taro, like the story and the events of those games are amazing things. Because Yoko Taro is an interesting person. Josh is a thing for emotionless women? No, 21 has a lot of emotions. Most of them revolve around candy, but I have a thing for psychotic women, which is a worrying trend. Anyway, that's about my disjointed love life. Right. It's very difficult to sort of move the hard part that they're running from when you see that Fled is swapped onto the Genji. It's very, very difficult to sort of displace a team from this position. Like, they're really gonna have to play heavily around the... No, Kuki's off. Okay, they're going full dive then, because Kuki was on the Orisa for all of like 2 seconds. This is a team that just kills tanks dead. Like, if Libero, if Wicked gets a really, really good Riptire, then maybe. But it's gonna have to be a friggin' glorious one. Android 18 is better. Don't listen to Darth. 21 is better. Oh boy. I might stream some Dragon Ball FighterZ tomorrow. I've been playing it most of the day. Had a great time. Been enjoying it. I mean, otherwise there's not too much to set up to this fight. Both teams have support ultimate, so it could go either way. Infrasights just run out, Dive goes in. Dive looks okay at the moment, but this is a tank killer team. And so it kills tanks. Ark uses Valkyrie, Toby uses Valkyrie as well, gonna start rezzing people. Toby almost gets hooked out of the sky, that would have been huge if it hit. Again, very hard to kill this team. Jonik uses his ult, Ryu Jaehong uses his later. Does give them a slight advantage here, but it's still running, so that hook is meaningless. Jonik gets himself a kill. Wicked gets himself a double. Well, not a double, sorry. Just gets himself a single kill. What I'd love, and like this is, like if I put the casting on, you'll hear this. When you're casting, you do look for stuff like this, where you see like 2 things in a Riptire, and it's just like, oh my god, he's got himself a double kill. Like that's a third of the team down. And then you notice, oh wait, it's this. And so if you listen to Semler, just to like highlight the casting, like a problem, cast his face.
Everything and the kitchen sink as it is Seoul. Yes, both teams, in fact, none of the support turrets in play. The key, though, that could be the turning moment. The supercharger is down as well.
And you notice he recovers it by saying like, oh, the supercharger is down as well. And it's like, what I imagine went through his head was very simple of like, Wakid's just got a double kill, so we need to, like, you emphasize that. So Wakid's got him with a double kill. Or like, Wakid just got himself a big play, and the supercharger is down. And the same happens with Diva mechs and stuff, where you just see the Diva, like, D-mech come through, or you see something else come through, or like, even like reses. I'd love it if this was just like thinner than this. So you know that this is like a sub-play, where like the big ones are just kills, and then you have like reses be like half as thick. Or something, just like half the size. They do that a lot. Yeah, it's very easy to do with Bongo, with like turrets and stuff. Like, it's so easy to do. Because you want, like, what you don't want to do is, like, a big play happens and you don't emphasize it. You want to sort of explode on those moments that are explosive. And so you see the kill feed get full of a color. It's like, something big happened, I need to announce that. And it's just tricky. This is just, by the way, this fight as a whole, just to deviate from talking about the casting. So after the support ults wear down, crucially the Orisa's died, so that's just a lot of anti-tank being removed. Zumba and Kuki are still alive, and Fled is still bouncing around in this. I've hit play. Notice that this isn't paused. It's playing. There we go. No. Twitch. Hello? Hello? Twitch. There we go. So what else run through? Arisa's dead. A lot of the tank killing power has gone away. Zumba and Kuki are still alive on the point though. Like the fact that Kuki survives this long as well, but Zumba is just like Zumba's diva is impeccable. Gets a lot of work done and steadily gets enough kills and damage done. Survives long enough. Like this is overtime. If he dies, he's screwed. Kuki's bounced off someone and killed Jonak. If Kuki, if Zumba died there, this would be over. But he managed to survive long enough for Kuki to get back and then for reinforcements to start coming back in to extend the fight even longer. It's just really good survivability from Seoul. And again, this is what I want to emphasize throughout the series. It's like a very, very small series of plays from these various players where one player will just outplay slightly and suddenly the advantage shifts. It's a very, very close series. Dragon Blade comes through just to try and secure it. Doesn't manage to get much of anything because just gets booted away by Ark, who swapped now onto the Lucio just to get back to the point faster. Trance getting used just to try and keep everyone alive, and this is where it's going to start sort of shifting because that Transcendence was huge. And now it's Fleda, like if Fleda did this, like I remember watching this and just going like, there's no way, there's no fucking way. This is the moment that Genji mains fucking dream of, okay? Most of their team is dead. There's a bunch of people still fighting around the point. It's overtime. You can tie up the series here. You can do it, Fleda. They use Transcendence. You have your chance. Riptide comes at you and goes away. Gets one. Gets two. Now looking for number 3. Still alive, still juking around the point. Has to stay on the point. So ABLB kills Toby. It's just him left, and then the Winston comes back in and just goes, "Hi there." Zzz. Feels bad, man. Feels bad, man. But like, just that moment from Flatter, it doesn't work out, but it's so fucking cool. I don't know if you guys have seen like the enemy tracer video, the animation that someone did, but it feels appropriate to bring it up at this point. Enemy tracer. I love these animations done by Dopa 2. There we go. Whoop. Like this just instantly springs to mind. I'm missing out all the kill feed of the tracer, killing everybody. Outplayed. Out fucking played. How embarrassing, exactly. Just turns up and spoils the fun for everybody. The Sombra one is your favorite? I like the Sombra one as well. Though the Mercy one that they just released is great as well. Like, all of them are hilarious. I like the Hanzo one as well. They're all good though. Right. No brain. No aim, no brain. I am a Winston main. R.I.P. Internet Hulk. Man, that makes me sad now. Yeah, I'm really glad that Winston sort of became this complicated hero, like, over time. Just became this really, really involved, difficult to read hero. So, NYXL. I mean, people are asking, why don't people play Bastion? Hey, they're playing Bastion. Double Sniper, Bastion, Mono Support. So let's see. Let's try and learn from this very video. How do you beat this Bastion comp? Just ride in on the back of the payload. Gonna use as much of the payload for cover as possible, I imagine, as well. Shreds the barrier, no problem. There's the pull. So quick. So one of the cool things that you can do with Orisa, if you're good with it, is like if you put the Halt here, and because the Halt travels through barriers, you can do this. You put the Halt here, and you just pull the Bastion off the payload non-stop. It will slow it down quite a lot. So far it's just been bloodless. Like, Seoul have just given up tons and tons and tons of space. But once you start getting here, suddenly it gets very, very open and very, very tricky. So ABLB manages to find a kill. Like, honestly, this shouldn't happen in my mind. This could be because they're running the Roadhog instead of running like a Diva. But because they like, because say BLB ends up dropping, like, how does that happen when you have a hands on your team as well? Come on, you can surely keep Fled up on the back foot. Zumba now goes, finds the Hanzo, dives in, kills him. Like, what's Hanzo going to do about that? Not much. And then just like a fuck up on the barrier. Like, where's the Orisa barrier? There should be an Orisa barrier here. There is a Orisa barrier there. And then it just gets shredded. The moment they get an opening, they take it, kill. Losing that Widow fight is a big deal, because like they lose so much pressure, and means that Zumba's freer to go and do what he wants. They do res the Widow, but it's too little too late. Like, they've already lost a lot of heroes. And now the Bastion strat is going to really struggle. Mano's also on like 2 hit points. Is still on like 2 hit points. Someone for the love of God heal Mano. Someone please, for the love of God, heal Mano. Arc, anytime now. There we go. Whew. And now you got like a Riptide to deal with. It's going to be super, super difficult. This positioning for the Widow I really like. If you can do this on ladder, sometimes you'll find yourself being able to get in this position, then hey, it's pretty good. This is where it gets scary, because if the Bastion gets on the payload, it's going to be very difficult to remove him. Where does that dragon go? How does that dragon not kill everybody? What the fuck are you doing, Liber? Liber has 1 jump. Okay. How does he get over the... It feels like it fires it from like inside the middle of the... It's like a horror movie, and it's like, you know, oh my god! The call is coming from inside the house. The dragon strike is coming from inside the building. Surely he's doing it from the back and just... Like, you know where their team is. You have infrasight. You have infrasight. Just put the fucking thing through everybody. If Tijonak and Mano end up split up, that's really, really bad news, because, hey, the Bastion is just easy pickings for the Junkrat, for the Roadhog, for the Orisa. Like, you gotta have those barriers. Yeah, you fight it too close. Yeah, you fight it, like, inside the building, so it just goes through the doorway. If that Dragon Strike hit the team, it would have been huge. It would have been absolutely huge. Swaps off the Hanzo, though. Instead of going for a rat of his own, and notice that they've given up on the Bastion. Because the Bastion is just too like, it's really predictable about where you're going to position now. Now that you're starting to push into more of this open space, like, you've seen that they tried to push this way, and all that Seoul did is just they used this high ground here, they used like the stairs as cover, and they just play from this spot. And that's all they really needed to do. So once you start losing momentum over here, and like the thing that happens on ladder a lot is that the team will just push straight through, and like teams will contest it over here. You notice instead of contesting from up here, Seoul just fell back to this space and contested it over here. So that's sort of the big difference that I saw. Oh, I just hit the thing. So did NYXL do Bastion wrong, or Seoul did anti-Bastion right? It's impossible to say with one data point. All I can tell you is what Seoul did, which is that they just pulled back. It seems to have worked out for them. Ball and chain. Giving them picks. And like, if you lose, and like, this is the wages of killing an Orisa. Especially when you use ball and chain as well, like, you can't like, it's going to be in a difficult place to res. And so, now that there's no barrier, hey, Fladder can just go and do what he wants. Find targets, kill people. Meko gets hooked, dies. That Orisa goes down, you're in a lot of trouble. And like, I'll highlight Wicked's position because the camera's on him. Like, he's always behind this building. He's never in a position where he's going to get sniped either. Like, Sabiobi's going to have a really hard time finding an angle on him. He's always just behind this building, just spamming indirectly, using this indirect fire. Now, as Flair's Infrasight, knows exactly where to put the spam, knows exactly where the Widow is, which is his primary threat. But you notice that he's never in a position where he's going to get caught out. Even when, like, he sees the Junkrat come at him, he just falls back straight away. Super safe. Super, super safe from Wicked. Would Zarya work against this comp? No. I understand what you'd be going for, but they would just not give a shit about you and then just kill you when the moment arises. There we go. And suddenly, Seoul push it to Lijiang Tower. So that's what we're going to jump to next. Zarya needs a buff? No. Let the meta swing. Like, it will be, to me, it'll be foolish to change Zarya now that two heroes are about to change. So this is really interesting to me, by the way, just to like highlight this. A, they brought Bunny on. He's just going to be playing Tracer. Fleda does not opt to play the pharmacy here. Excelsior opt for the pharmacy, rating Libero's far higher enough, and then they're running this double off tank lineup again. And like this, I like this from Seoul. Like if you're playing this style, so just to sort of highlight like how do these comps operate? Well, this comp operates. It wants to get into a location and sort of fight there and spam and spam and spam and spam and spam. It wants to sort of, it wants to brawl a lot. Well, if you're playing with the Seoul 76, they're gonna play a lot more pokey. They're gonna poke, and then try and get a pick using Ryuji, Hong, Fleda, and Bunny, and then they're gonna do something and make a play. So, like, NYXL are a lot more stodgy. They're just going to get onto the point and then try and bait Kuki into... Like, if Kuki goes for something, they're going to instantly peel and just go and kill Kuki. So that they can't, like... Seoul Dynasty have to play very, very pokey. And so you notice they're doing exactly that. Setting her up around the outside, forcing NYXL to play around the back of the point, and then just trading blows using the Seoul 76, putting the damage amp pretty much constantly on him, occasionally putting it on the Zenyatta as well, and then just fighting from here. Keeping, you know, giving a lot of space and a lot of respect. Mano, though, like, that's bold. That's so bold. Remember what I was talking about, where it's like their strategy is to peel? Well, Mano just goes on a fucking hero flank. Notice that Kuki doesn't explode here. He's actually still alive, despite jumping in for all of 2 seconds. Because Mano's over here. Gets Toby, but is so punished for it. Fleda just gets so much ultimate charge out of that. Does mean Meko also goes down because he's now trying to fight Kuki on his own, whereas most of the aggression's going on him now. And now Mano's isolated, focused, killed off. That flank, and like when people sort of talk to me in coaching, they sort of go, oh, well, you know, maybe I should play more of a flanking Road Dogg. That's a good example of where it's a high-risk style, because if Kuki didn't pick that exact moment to engage, it could have been okay, and they would have killed the Mercy, been fine. But because that precise, like, remember yesterday, not yesterday, the day before yesterday in Coaching the Many, I was talking about, like, the idea of risk. That's a high-risk strategy with a high payoff, but the risk just didn't work out. Like, they got, like, he got into position, the Hog did his job, but Seoul engaged at the time that it was happening, so yeah. NYXL changed up the strategy. They know that they're trying to get the, like, trying to fire Pharmacy into this shit is obnoxious as hell, so they changed to a full dive comp. But you notice that Seoul is playing together, using the healing field. Ryuji Hong gets picked off. I think Libero might have actually used a deflect there. Nope, just shurikens by the looks of things. Fleda does have his ultimate, and of course NYXL are behind on the ultimates at this point. Toby, of course, can just pick people up, so... Really good job by the tanks to push this back, though. Like, notice the Arc, like his primary target, Arc just instantly gets pushed back by Mano and Meko. Really nice job by NYXL. Gives them a lot of space. But really well played by Fleda as well. And just, like, remember, like, this, I want to highlight this just for anyone in ladder. When people say, oh, should I shoot the Mercy? This is a Mercy on 3 bars. Okay, she has about 75 hit points, might get to about 90 through regen. Fleta, one of the best hit scan players in the league. Nope. Does not bother. Yeah. Wolf died. Yeah, don't worry about Wolf died. Wolf died is a meme from XCOM. Don't panic. It was tragic, don't worry. Diva Bomb used to cover the approach. Counter push comes out from Seoul straight away. Goes right onto... Like, because the Diva isn't there, they know they can try and push on mana, but there's just too much healing. Jonak uses his ultimate as well to keep it alive. Whiffs the bomb, but Arc is super low. Good job by Bunny. Poor job by Arc to stay... Like, oh, poor job by the team, I suppose, to support Arc. Like, Arc needed an angle to fly towards the Zen. Where did Jonak go? Arc just left out in the cold. Feels bad, man. There's an opening for Libero. If they give up this fight quickly... Actually, no. Sabiobi is a... Sabiobi and Jonak. Oh my god. 20 hit points. Sabiobi gets himself one. Bunny gets a little bit of healing, but Jonak just kills him. Jonak kills 3 people. What? This is why you'll hear pros say that Zenyatta is OP, by the way. Because what the fuck? Okay. This is a good situation to be in. They have lost their Diva, which is a shame. But they lost it due to, I think, a greedy bomb. So, whatever, you know. You got your Tracer in position to go and kill the Zenyatta. And then instantaneously in trouble. Fleda gets dove, focused, killed, and then Jonak just goes on a fucking rampage and just kills everybody. What? That's just scary. That is terrifying. That's why he's the best Zenyatta in the league. Because Boombox will win you fights, but he'll do it by just getting a pick before the fight starts. He'll kill a Dragon Blading Zenyatta, Dragon Blading Genji. He'll do stuff like that pretty regularly. He does it consistently, which is nice. The thing that Jonak does is he wins team fights, but he wins team fights by just killing everybody, and that's frightening. This is cool. They use the... So, Dragon Blading into this room is extraordinarily dangerous. If you're on ladder, don't do this. You do not do this, because it's terrifying. It's so easy to mess it up and just die. The amount of times during scrims I saw crews try and do this on this very map and just get completely shit all over was far too numerous to count, and we basically just sort of said to him, do not Dragon Blade into that room, because it's like you need to have a Diva defense matrixing or something to cover you. They use the Diva Bomb to cover the Dragon Blade. Works out, gets them a kill on Toby. But you see what ends up happening. Like, he just gets hunted down and killed by Fleda. Still, enough has been done that they can actually hold on. Is it healthy if a hero is considered OB with pros but not in regular games? You know, Zenyatta. I think it's okay for Zenyatta to be, like, a little bit OP at the moment. Like, he's a very, very high fidelity, high skill hero, and those guys should be quite powerful. He also has, like, a lot of weaknesses as well. So, like, Zenyatta's offensive power is sort of offset by the fact that he is just so vulnerable. He's literally a glass cannon. Interesting battle between Sabiobi and Bunny. Like, really interesting to me as someone who's trying to learn Tracer is the decision point here for Sabiobi. Like, he literally gets Bunny delivered in his lap and goes, oh shit, I need to fight this guy. And then sees the Winston coming in and changes priority. Like, he might be trying to go for a stick here. But notice that he just drills the Winston instead. That tells me, like, NYXL's focus at that point was, like, you know, you can imagine the calls just being, like, Winston, 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 Winston. So he just changes off the Tracer and goes purely onto that Winston. Has bomb, gets it on, beautiful stick. Beautiful patience as well. Like, this is really, really solid play. Knows that the Diva is there, seeing the Diva. Goes in. He could have got a stick on this blink, but knows that Diva is there. Diva blocks the shots. Defense matrix goes down. Opening's there. Gets it. Really, really good. But hey, Mercy is a thing. Res has come through. Jonak. Stop it. You're making everybody else look bad, son. There we go. Flutter. Oh man, like just there's too many tanks alive on the point. Rouge Hong gets his ultimate off. It's a pretty big deal, and you can't kill people. So Trance wins them the fight. It's a pretty big deal though. So ideally, NYXL should like regroup, Dragon Blade, win. They are gonna have to touch though. Looks like they're hunting for someone. Trying to wait for the Tracer maybe and stop them contesting. They managed to get onto the point. Dragon Blade comes out very early. Double kill comes in straight away, one of them being a boop, which is a big kill. Second kill comes in. That might have just been enough. Like, that Dragon Blade was huge. I think it was a touch too early, if you ask me. But we don't have Libero's perspective, so we can't really tell. Like, I mean, the fact that NYXL managed to touch is like enough to sort of let Libero know that maybe he can just hold on to it for a second or two, let Seoul get onto the point. But I imagine he wanted just 1 or 2 quick kills. So we'll just use the massive damage that a Dragon Blade will give you to be able to do that. If Mercy gets nerfed, then Widow will be so dangerous. Then pros start to go through tanks in. Widow is not more dangerous if Mercy gets nerfed. Widow is enabled by the current Mercy changes. It's a little bit complicated, and it's like it's not as intuitive as you'd think, but basically Mercy slows the game down to a point where Widowmaker becomes viable again. Widowmaker gets less viable the faster paced the game is, and what ends up happening with the Widow is that you get a pick, and then you can usually either A, get a pick in an area where the Mercy can't res, or B, Mercy, you force out the Mercy res nice and early. And Widow takes no risks in getting picks. Something like Dive, where if you dive in with like Genji Tracer, and then Mercy manages to res that, you are so overextended and super vulnerable, and you'll just end up dying. So it's like the Widow enables you to get these picks with the damage amp and with just headshotting from a safe position, and you just play it slowly until Widow gets a pick, then you can start doing things. Or you get a pick, and then you have a window of opportunity where they don't have res, you have res, and you can sort of do stuff with that. When the game changes, when Mercy gets changed, you can expect to see the game get a little bit faster again, especially if like Lucio comes back, because he just speeds the game up, because he has speed boost, and then you're going to see more aggressive plays coming out, because aggression is more rewarded, getting first picks is more rewarded, all that kind of stuff. So we're on a Pharah map. Brace yourself for Pharah action. Crucially, big differences between team comps. Again, one team running Lucio. Toby's Lucio is god tier. Jonex's Zenyatta is god tier. They're both going to stay on their respective niche heroes. Other than that, mirrored on both sides. Kuki, though, has been punished non-stop. NYXL just look very ready to sort of deal with tanks. So Winston jumps in. Gets very, very isolated, and like, I think Kuki just fucks up his jump slightly here. Like, I remember we spent a lot of time on this map, and sort of how we strategize this map. So you basically have sort of 2 big plays, or 3 plays you can make from this point. Which is, whoop, boom. So you either jump to, like, all the way here, and you try, oh, not here. You will jump to, like, more like here. And you'll try and take control of like this wall here and try and sort of fight from here. Very, very high risk, used if you're playing like a super aggro dive. Alternatively, you go where Mano's gone and you use this pillar, and this will give you some cover as the Winston. So you can sort of just dance around this pillar for a little while, get yourself set up, get your team into position, and then when an opportunity arises, you can start pushing forward towards this part of the bridge. Where Kuki ends up going is he jumps and he will land like here in this spot. And that just leaves him out in the middle of the open. And so all that happens is Discord Orb goes on him as he jumps in, Meko engages, Sabielby engages, and that's just enough to kill him. Like, he needed someone covering him, he needed Zumba covering him or something. So yeah, focus is just there, down he goes. Rouge, that's so bold. That's a very fast bomb from Bunny, though. Holy shit, that's a fast bomb from Bunny. Losing that Mercy is big, though. Like, biggest thing about losing that Mercy, Arc is now 40% ahead of Rouge Hong. Pretty big deal. How on earth did they get to the point at the same time? So the Lucio can't actually like accelerate too far ahead because of the Pharah. The pharmacy doesn't give a shit about the Lucio. So you want to travel as a big unit regardless, and so both teams sort of had the same speed overall. The Lucio gives you a huge advantage if you do take control though. Like the threat of the boop is just huge. But it's very, very hard. Like, yeah, you're not going to get a huge speed advantage, I think. And like Kuki just ended up in a shitty position as well. Also, Seoul aren't playing like mega dive. It's a good job by Fleder though. Like Fleder's been performing very, very well in this Pharah, I will say. Let's just go back to the start of this. And the reason why pros seem to have short, concise names is the Korean style. Koreans tend to have like a single noun as their name. That's been the case in StarCraft. Like Flash, Savior, Jaedong, Hero, stuff like that. And so like Western StarCraft players tended to imitate that as well. And then it sort of became just the fashion. Western players tend to have slightly longer names overall. I think like Ryu Jae-hong is literally just like Ryu Jae-hong's name as well. But yeah, Koreans like the sort of 1-2 syllable names. Oh god, he almost recalled onto his own pulse bomb. Would have been embarrassing. Like this is just really nicely fought by Seoul. I mean, we're on Sabielby's camp, so it's kind of hard to keep track of. But like Fleder builds up the barrage a little bit quicker. Manages to find a position. I think he used it after the sound barrier. Nope, just drops it on top of 2 tanks and just kills them. And then sound barrier will come out a moment later. Sabielby was Morningstar Rain? Yes. That was a fact thing on the stream. It's a cool name. It sounds good in English as well. Sabielby. It's fun to say. Toby. Toby is not a good name. Sounds like my mate Toby. My mate Toby, he plays Lucio well good, he does. Mano, what the fuck? What the fuck, Mano? Steady on, Mano. It gets Bunny. I don't know if that's knockoffs or what. You get Zumba. That is a knockoff. If you see the Diva die before the Diva mech, that's a knockdown. Gets another one. It's just like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? And I wish we got to see that. We didn't get to see that. Wait, one. So something interesting has just happened as well. It's kind of okay. Which is Ryu Jae-hong swaps off the Mercy, goes onto Zenyatta. Maybe they've identified that maybe Mano and Meko are just getting away with too much. Like they need the Discord orb, they need the range, they need to Discord targets. And then Toby has to swap onto the Mercy because of course you have to have a fucking Mercy. What are you going to do? Run Zen Lucio at people? And now they're behind on Eco. And like that's bad. That's really bad because there's only about 2 fights left in this, and like the second fight's gonna be difficult at the very least. Jijonek again remains the target du jour. Such good peel. Such good peel. Notice how low Jijonek gets. Notice how Zumba can't engage on this dive as well. Rocket lands. Tracer's trying to hard out. Jijonek 12 hit points, 10 hit points. Mercy arrives just in time. Stays alive, and hey, here comes Diva. Saves the day. So it's like the pressure that NYXL are managing to put out and the sort of the DPS they're managing to find means that Jijonek is that little bit safer, is that little bit more secure, means that he survives that dive. Means that he still has ultimates ready, means that Arg never feels flustered, never feels like he has to panic and use his ultimate. And now they can actually just use their ultimate. Libero gets a big kill. Meanwhile, Seoul Dynasty still behind on ultimates. And now it's overtime. And it's like, you need these ultimates, but like, NYXL's play and just decimating tanks has been huge. And there we go. NYXL, take it. And, like, the cool part about this is that because the Korean players have sort of formed a community, and like it makes me really happy to see. Like NYXL just seems so happy about this win. Like that is really heartwarming to see how fucking ecstatic these guys look about doing that. Like they did something incredible, and they know it. And it's like this is one of the games in the playoffs, but it was such a high level game where like every single player felt like they had clutch moments. Every single player on both sides just did super cool things. It's amazing to see, and they look so happy about it. And then they go off, and it's like just so much love shared between both of these teams, and like appreciation. Now look at these guys. It's like they all know each other. They've been playing with each other for ages. Hugs all around, and like they absolutely deserved just celebrating this match. Like, if Seoul were going to lose to anyone, it was either going to be London or NYXL. NYXL take the first victory. Looking forward to seeing when London eventually get to play these teams, because that should be good. How much are you involved in London Spitfire compared to your Team UK? I'm not involved in London Spitfire in the fucking slightest. I am tangentially related to them because Stylosa works with London Spitfire, and I help produce some content occasionally on Unit Lost. That's it. Kind of feel like they hide Pine strats for the playoffs. It could be a number of things. Pine might not be like the biggest team player in the world as well. He's, you know, he might not synergize amazingly with some of the strats the team were executing. Also, if the enemy does start playing tank heavy comps, he might sort of drop off a lot if he just plays the McCree, but we'll see. I mean, it could be right. You could be right that they're just sort of keeping Pine in check, and then we'll wheel him out for the playoffs and just destroy everyone, but I mean, you're not going wrong with Sabiobi and Libero either, so hey. Like, if Sabiobi is allowed to play Tracer and Widow, he's fine. It's one of the best in the game. It worries me that it seems like the Korean teams get booed sometimes when they play Western teams. It happens. Hopefully that sort of stuff fades away. I mean, then it doesn't, like, I did a video on this where the narrative of Overwatch League at the moment is, can people beat the Koreans? Who's going to beat the Koreans? And so it's like, it doesn't surprise me that they're sort of portrayed as the bad guys slightly of the league. It's not even the fact that they're the bad guys. They're just winning. And to me, that's what matters. That's what's important. Right. I wish Shadowburn had a nickname with some wordplay, like Carpe. Yeah, Carpe is the best fish. Shadowburn and Carpe are such, like, I love watching Fusion play. They're so exciting. If the meta does swing to dive, they're going to be really, really scary. Anyway, that was a treat to bring to you. Definitely one of the highest level matches that we've seen, and like I said, it wasn't like you know, one team just used their ults in a proper way and the other team didn't. It was all small strategic things, players making big plays, players making small plays. I will hold and defend my sort of thoughts on Seoul's strategizing on Lunar Colony. I just think that that's a little bit dubious. I don't think that their first push makes sense, but maybe there is a good reason to do that, and I just don't know. I'm willing to sort of be a big enough person to say, hey, if anyone's in the wrong, it's more likely to be me than them. So, hey, I'm just a pundit. Otherwise, prediction for Spitfire versus Dynasty. See, Stylosa assures me that Spitfire will beat them, but that's Sty, and I don't know how much I trust that. I'm pulling for Spitfire. It could go either way. If you like Philly, do Philly MY. Yeah, I feel like I really like the Philadelphia team. Like, of all the underdog teams, Philadelphia are my favorites. They're just exciting to watch. They're just a very, very exciting team to watch. I started supporting Fusion because of Boombox, and I was very pleasantly surprised by how well they've been playing. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of in the same boat, and it was super fun to see them do well, and like super fun to see them. The issue I have with Fusion, and like I want to sort of, I know Haze, so I can like go and grab Haze if I want. I want to sort of scream at Haze and go like, just let Fusion play as aggressive as possible. Just kill people, because you have a team lineup that just goes in and slaughters people. And if you play with just unchecked, unreserved aggression, like draw Dragon Blades into friggin' Transcendences all fucking day, because Shadowburn's good enough where he doesn't need the Dragon Blade, and so that's a good trade for you guys. It's sort of small things like that that Fusion could, what that sort of thing does, it will unbalance good teams, because they'll sort of go, oh, what? They've used a Dragon Blade, okay, well, we've won the fight, ha 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 ha, you've fallen for my master trap, oh wait, they're killing us now that Transcendence has run out, so yeah. I used to think Reinforced was aggressive until I saw Fraggy. Fraggy is Fraggy has long been known as the scariest Reinhardt in the league, and Fraggy plays Reinhardt like most people play Winston, and it's frightening. And let me put it this way: so Christopher thinks that he is the best Reinhardt player in Europe. He might be right, but Fraggy was sort of the Reinhardt that he was scared of, because Fraggy can just go and slaughter people. And I imagine if you lose to Fraggy, you'll probably look really bad doing it, because Fraggy will just like kill you again and again and again and again and again. I had no clue who Poker was before this. Now I'm in love with this diva. You're not alone in that. Let me go to Liquipedia just to make sure I'm getting it right. Because Poco is not a well-known player, and he had a lot of question marks about him. I think Monty identified him in like the first week. I was like, hey, this guy's really improved. That's right, Gamers Origin. Played on the French team that was most like a lot of it, like even on that team, the focus was pretty much always around Leaf and Hardest and Pipu, because he has a fun name to say. Leaf, especially like on Gamers Origin, drew a lot of attention because Leaf was a Doomfist main and was the best Doomfist in the world for a long time. Whether that's still true or not, I don't know. Yeah, Poco has definitely made a name for himself. Anyway, I'm probably gonna wrap it up there rather than try and play some Overwatch in 20 minutes. Thank you for watching to the end, guys. It's been my absolute pleasure to bring you this game. Look forward to bringing you a couple more next week. These streams are, of course, done every single Sunday at 10 o'clock British time, so do come by and watch it. All the information's in the description, and I tweet when I go live as well, so thank you for hanging out. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been my pleasure to talk about Overwatch with you, as it is always, and thank you to those of you who supported the stream. So, that is BSTC, Oblivion Divider, Mafcattle DK, Ryan with the host. Thank you, Ryan, it's appreciated. I think Ryan did some coaching or something before I began, so it's good to see Ryan doing more into that. Definitely go and follow Ryan if you haven't already, twitch.tv/RyanCentral_. Kishvalka, thank you so much. Skels as well. Did I miss you, Skels? If I did, I'm sorry. Labata with a tier 3, always appreciated. Good to have you on board, Labata. Lima Senpai with the 10 months. And yeah, that is it for today. Thank you so much, guys. I want to go pro. What's a better bat attack? Zero or Lightning? Zero sounds better to me, but Lightning has more pump potential. Zero is good. I think Zero is better than Lightning. I would go with Zero. Like, because, and you want to have for like puns, it's like, oh, well, you know, Zero is cutting them down to nothing. Like, or, you know, Zero, like his namesake, is reducing them to nothing. Like, you can play on Zero as well as Lightning. So if you want a good punchy name, I'd say Zero is better. But good luck if you want to go pro. Like, put the hours in. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. And then find teams to play with, find small tournaments, go for, and stuff like that. Always good. Scrim Central, not a bad idea if you don't already play in some sort of 6 versus 6 league. And then just focus on improving as best as possible. Yeah, go from 0 to hero. Yeah, like you could use that. Like if you play a Genji, for example, and it's like, oh my god, he's gone from 0 to hero and he's killed everyone. Like, it's so easy. It's easy to play with. Right, guys, thank you. That's it from me. I will see you tomorrow probably for some Overwatch. And tomorrow afternoon maybe for some DBZ fighters. I'll tweet if I'm going live with that as well. Should be around 4 o'clock my time. So yeah, bye! Let's play some music. Where's my music?